Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I forgot what I was going to say.
Hello.
It's a bright and salty.
Wow.
It's bright and salty. This is your boy, Pastor Yeet. No, I'm just kidding.
We're a little bit rusty. We've been gone for a while.
I know how we're rusty. We don't know what's going on, but we're back, and I'm glad you're here with us. So thank you for being with us. And today we have the guys and the girls.
Yep.
How are you guys?
Splendid. Happy to be here.
I'm great.
That is so fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Indeed.
What about you?
I'm good.
Steph, how are you?
I'm good, too.
How's law school?
It's going.
It's going. Yeah. And we have with us Rosie. Hi, Rosie.
Hello.
Rosalia. How are you?
I'm okay.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. Now, you know her because she's been helping us for a while, but now she's on camera.
She's been our silent guest for how long?
Popular.
She's popular?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so off camera we have
Amongst who?
Wally.
The church.
Hi, Wally.
Wally, yeah.
Say hello, Wally.
Wally's back.
Wally's back,
Yeah,
and
Wally's back.
we have Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Hi. She said hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is Bright and Salty. We talk about politics. We talk about God. And we talk about
The Bible.
the Bible and holiness.
Yes.
And our times and what's going on. So what's going on? What's happening?
Too much.
A lot.
Okay, let's start somewhere then.
Where do you want to start?
I want to start with
Our friend?
who?
Our friend? The ferret.
Andrea?
Our best friend?
Yeah, the ferret from our podcast.
AOC.
Yes.
Yes. What's going on with her?
She had a dress on.
Okay. let's see the dress.
There was a picture.
Wow.
Who has the picture? There you go.
All right, so that's a picture of the dress. What does it say? It says tax the rich.
And she wore that at the Met Gala, which is where all the big players go and show off. I think it cost $30,000 just to get into the door.
Wait a minute. But just to be fair, the Met Gala is the Met Gala.
Is it? I don't
That's like the height of fashion.
Well, if you like fashion, I guess, but like for the rest of us, you paid $30,000 just to get in there. I could think of.
First of all, you need to be invited. I'm not defending her, but I'm just saying, in order to go to Met Gala, you can't just pay $30,000.
No.
You
Isn't
need
that
to be
weird
invited.
that they probably wear those bows and the weird
Yeah, they do.
triangle
They're
shoes
weird,
and
they're
all that
weird,
nonsense?
But
it's
you know how ironic it is for her to wear that
fashion.
dress?
I
At
was
an
just
event-
stating, just to be fair,
an
the
event
Met
that
Gala
costs
is
$30,000.
very important.
You know how people you could feed with $30,000? A lot of people.
Let's move on, Pastor.
So you agree with her
Wow.
wearing that dress going to that place?
No, I'm not agreeing with her. I'm just pointing out.
Was she protesting that event? Is that what she was doing?
No.
I don't think so, right? She was.
She looked a little bit.
She was amongst the elite.
Yeah.
Okay, so enlighten me. What's the event about?
Okay,
Fashion.
that's what I was trying to
Nonsense.
do.
Oh, she probably wouldn't know.
Provide
idea.
some background. I'm trying to provide
Okay,
background
go
on what
ahead.
the Met Gala
Okay,
is.
go
The
ahead.
Met Gala is the height of fashion. It happens once a year, which is, I think, the first Monday of September. It's done by Anna Wintour, which is like, she's the editor of Vogue.
Wow.
And you can only go if you've been invited by her, you've been vetted by her. The designers that present there need to be approved by her, so everything goes.
And you have 30,000 laying around.
And obviously, it's a very expensive because it's at the New York.
She got sponsored. Do you think she got sponsored?
Apparently,
Yeah,
she
well,
did.
she
She
might
did.
she
She
might
did.
say someone gave me the dress
Yeah,
and
but how hypocritical is that? You're talking about tax the rich,
you're with the rich.
and you're with the rich.
Or maybe she's saying, hey, now that I'm with the rich, I'm gonna send this message to them.
Okay, yeah, but where we now was with them?
I like to give benefit of the doubt. I can go with that.
I doubt it.
Because now that I think about it, yeah,
Don't lean back because you can't see in the camera.
probably better. But yeah, now that we say it like that, maybe she was protesting the event within the event. Like, yeah, I'll go. Like, I'll be amongst you, but I'm gonna
I think.
wear this banner. Maybe trying to pull strings, you know,
I think
heartstrings.
for being like the.
Is she though?
high-
Yeah, yeah.
I
doubt it.
I'm stuck there.
She doesn't have that. No, she's not that.
Yeah, I want to bet. I put my money on no, but we don't gamble. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my-
go
yeah.
ahead, Steph.
Oh, I'm just saying. I think for being the type of event that it is, and it's fashion, so like it's art. As a fashion enthusiast,
Wow.
You like
I
the
think
dress.
that's a missed opportunity, though. Like, you're gonna show up to some of them. I'm not like validating some of those designs and the things that go on, but just like the expression of some of these pieces, and you show up with red letters in a dress like that, that's like, let's take politics out of
I
fashion.
think the event in itself is, I mean, if we see it through the perspective of Christian, beliefs, in my book is trash, you know?
Isn't
What?
I
The
think
event?
like, are you kidding me? Like, what can possibly be worth that much? 30, and where are these 30,000 going? Are they going to somewhere, like, are they going to a charity?
Well, I think if you look at
Like-
it globally, there's a lot of things that we can say that.
Absolutely, and I don't rule that out, but this in particular is what we're talking about, and that's what my thing is. Where is this money going? I don't know. Do you know that?
No, that wasn't a question.
What money? what money?
I don't know.
The money for the event?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Now, if it does go to a charity or something amazing like that, like, by all means, like,
Yeah, I guess so. But
so? Basically, what you're saying is that the ends justify the means. I mean, even if she was protesting, it's okay for her to dress like that because she means well.
I don't.
No.
No, not at all.
I think it's a contradiction if
It's
you're
hypocrisy.
doing it, and yeah, because I mean you're wearing something that's 30. Okay, my question is this: I'm not a fashion guy. You are, but what kind of clothing necessitates being $300 or even $30,000 in cost?
But I don't think it's the dress itself. I think it was
It's the
the
designer.
ticket to get there for
No,
the event.
the dress itself was expensive, right?
Yeah.
No, I think the ticket itself.
the ticket was 30,000, but I think the dress was
Yeah.
as well.
No, the dress was something like, I think, like between, it was 3 or 13,000, something like that.
Okay, well,
Keep
still.
in
Was-
mind, like
that's-
designers
that's
can
pretty
put
good.
whatever price tag they want.
Yeah,
even
but I'm
though
sure
it's not worth
they're
it.
not paying.
No,
for
she
that
didn't pay
stuff.
for that.
So
She didn't pay
the
for that.
dress, it's most likely just like all those dresses are.
Bar-
They're borrowed.
Yeah.
That's like
The
you
designer-
attach it to the celebrity or whatever,
Yeah,
and they don't pay for the dresses.
of course.
It's just to get like your art or whatever on the carpet.
All right, but let's talk about the philosophy then. Tax the rich.
It's wrong.
Why is it wrong?
No, I think the idea that the rich don't pay their fair share. I think that's the whole idea behind that. But I think if I was looking at the stats that just came out for the latest tax information, the tax I think 2018. I think the top 1%. I think they pay close to like 38% of all of federal income taxes.
So they pay.
They pay most of it, 38% of all income taxes paid. That's just the top 1%, which is not a big number of people that are up there. I don't know how much. Well, top 1% is not a lot. So they pay the most out of the whole income tax. So there in itself, to say that whole thought that they don't pay their fair share, it's incorrect.
I mean, they would have to be doing fraud, literally, not to pay what they.
Oh, I'm pretty
pay.
sure they know a way around it because it's a tax code. The tax code is complicated.
Yeah.
I don't even. That's why my main reason is why if they have a problem with the tax code, or they keep saying let's tax the rich more. How about just simplify the tax code? They just have everybody pay 10% of their income or
Well, that's-
15% of their
That's
income.
what, yeah.
Why can't it not be that simple? Why does it have to be? You fall into all these groups, and then you could take away this.
So it's almost like, hey, if you invent something and you're just super successful, we're gonna charge you for that. We're gonna hit you hard.
You're gonna pay more for
Yeah,
that.
and then imagine the people that do create these things that help humanity as a whole. And I mean, it is what it is. It makes them incredibly rich.
and
And then now, we're gonna take half of that because you're rich.
Just
you know?
because you're that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You're
shouldn't
not
it-
committing any
yeah.
crime. You're not doing anything.
Is it their fault for being successful?
no, but not only that, it's like they're not committing any crime. They're doing everything legally, right?
Yeah.
Because they have they hire these tax people that know how to, circumvent the system.
Mhm.
They put monies in different things, or
But then it's the
invest it.
system itself.
Well, of course, it always has.
Yeah.
Loopholes? Or?
Yeah, loopholes, and of course they pay the somebody that knows how to do that. the top people, right?
Yeah.
If you have money to pay for somebody to do that, then of course.
Yeah,
right?
so perhaps she's saying, hey, let's do a law where we can change that and
Simplify the tax code. That's what.
Imagine though if you start to do that and you say like, hey, if you make this kind of money, then we're gonna tax you this much. We're gonna take half of it. Then it's like who wants to invent these things now? Like who wants to be successful?
yeah.
Where's the motivation for that now? If, like,
Yeah, so
for
you
what?
have- you have,
they can take all of it. Like
the example Jeff Bezos. You have this guy,
Makes a lot of money.
and he practically created this thing that everybody uses, and he's
Yeah,
super
yeah.
successful. So
Mhm.
now we're gonna punish you for that
Yeah.
because you're being too successful. Is that what you're saying, right?
that's what I'm assuming. That's what that dress means, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like they're already getting taxed, right? I agree with what.
Everybody. Yeah.
Well, like if there's loopholes and we know you're finding these loopholes, like close the loopholes.
Yeah.
Like don't let them get away with like no tax.
Yeah.
But other than that, like why should you give half of it?
Yeah. No, and I just think it's just a way to create division, When you say all these things, another way to create division between people, like start hating the people that are rich or are successful. Right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's just a way to
So you stop
Divide-
creativity and you stop
Yeah.
all these things because people they're not gonna want to be part of that.
but not only that, you create resentment between people, right? Like people that don't have much be say, "Oh, well, cuz they're not paying enough, I can't, I'm not successful in life or something like that."
it just sounds to me as part of the socialist agenda.
Yeah, that too. And AOC is like the face of it,
Is she?
pretty much.
Yeah, I like to go and tell her to live in Cuba and see if it's fun.
and
See if she can wear-
not as a tourist.
See if she can wear
She
that
can wear that dress, right?
Yeah, over there.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just the people who have that power to do so.
Mhm.
Talk about the country that gives them exactly that particular
Correct.
power. What else is going on, guys?
The borders.
Border.
Yeah, that's horrible, huh?
It's crazy.
That's a comp.
Have you guys seen the pictures? Like under
I've
the
seen
bridge?
some pictures.
This is crazy.
Vaguely, yeah.
It's
What's going on?
Just human's heart.
Just,
Human heart without Jesus.
a bunch of Haitians are crossing over. I think they're like at 15,000 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, like all like at once, not
The
just
Mexico border?
Yes,
How did-
Texas.
Texas. How
Yes.
did they get to Mexico?
I think they come through. They sell, I think, over to Mexico, and then they cross over. It's close by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's I think they were said 15,000 immigrants or Haitian immigrants were crossing over, and of course, when people cross over in one all at once, I don't think the Border Patrol has anywhere to house them. Right? You've
Yeah.
seen the pictures under the bridge where they put them and pretty much built like a little village.
Yeah.
I think my biggest problem with it was I think recently last week they had to use horses to try to stop these people from crossing the river.
Like lasso them?
No, they were just like trying to create a barricade so they won't cross over. Just like, oh, just go back. We can't take you. Just go back. But apparently, well, obviously, some people don't want to get captured, right, and start running. And obviously, they have to chase after them and capture them. So there was these pictures going around with Border Patrol agents on horseback with reins. Long reins are the lasso that controls the horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're long because you need extra length to be able to control them in that situation because you're running or going after somebody. But everybody started saying that they were whipping these migrants. Just out of one picture of a still with a long rein and just hanging, not even like a motion.
Oh, so it wasn't true, or was it?
No,
True?
it was not true. Even the guy that took the picture said, I didn't see anybody get whipped when I was there.
Wow.
And then you have the president coming out saying, oh, we're going to investigate. That's not going to happen or not. And then you have the vice president saying too, condemning not the part of just saying the lie, but then you condemn the border agents that are doing their job that you sent out there in horseback because they're not going to choose by themselves. Hey, I'm going to go on my horse, right? They have to be ordered to go on your horse.
That's betrayal. Like,
And then to smear these agents to say, oh, they were whipping people. Like, how do you
that's
live
just
with that?
appeasing the masses, dude.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
just
I think that's what I was mad. It's not so much them lying, which lying, of course, it's like that's bad in itself. But you smear a person that's doing his job that he was sent there to do by you.
I saw, along with those similar pictures, I saw a video where I see a border agent on horseback, basically like clear way with another person for a woman and a child to come by, and you hear him saying to the man, like, it's something like, "You coward! Like, you're using your wife and child, or you're using women and children, like, but hold them back, but allow the women and the child to come through." I don't know what must have been happening there, but I think that we need to see both sides of it and see the facts before we just say, "Oh, look at a white man being racist on a horseback." Like, oh, look, that looks like a whip. So therefore, look,
That's what
slavery
it is.
days.
Yeah.
like
You
that.
jump into conclusions.
Yeah. Oh, and then look, they're pigmented, so that means like he's racist because
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just sad how it always just goes back to the same thing, doesn't it?
And you might have people say, "Oh, well, they don't have any compassion for this." Look, I have compassion. The Haitians have gone through a lot in this year, right? They assassinated the president. They had the earthquake recently. Devastated. I understand. Look, they want to have something better in their life. They want to make something with their family. But also, we have to have order, right? If we have people just crossing over whenever they want, where's the order in that? You just let them come in.
Well, what does that say to the rest of the world?
That's what I'm saying. But there needs to be a process in anything you do.
And what about the people going through that process?
We can't have chaos. So yeah, we have compassion for these people, but at the same time, we have to have some kind of order, or else we just let anything happen, anything goes. So I think Americans are very compassionate, but I think law and order has to also be enforced.
Yeah, there's this article in the Guardian that says that the
Justice has to
Haitian
be
says that they
Yeah.
treat it as like animals, and they're angry and in despair at being deported from the United States of America. It just seems to me like the news, they just assume that the borders are open and that you're supposed to just it sounds to me like they're surprised that people are upholding the law.
Yeah,
Isn't that weird?
yeah.
Like,
How dare you?
Right.
how dare you do that? And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's what they're supposed to be
But
doing, isn't
we're
it?
not the only country that does that.
I think other countries
You
do
can't.
it-
I
do it
can't
worse.
walk. I can't walk into Canada just like that. I can't walk into Mexico. I have to go through a border. crossing,
Mexico.
right? I can't cross
Yeah.
just like that. So
They'll
I think.
deport you.
Praise God for AMLO.
They'll deport you.
Yeah, so I'm saying like every country protects their borders no matter what, because they gotta know who's coming in and who's going out, right?
Yeah.
So
well, now something's happening with the Afghans, right?
oh well, apparently they had a couple issues with some Afghanistans that were brought over here. I think at some fort where Steph it was. I forgot where it was, but
I think it's Fort Wayne.
yeah, they were accused of. You probably know better than I do.
Well, they were accused of sexual harassment. I think rape or something like that.
Of a underage.
Of underage girls,
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh,
It was
wow.
there was 12. Let me just.
Yeah, there was. I know. I heard that too. I heard there was two of them that
It was
got.
two guys, right?
Yeah. So you run into things like that. It's just tough to when you have a surge of people to try to process these people and to see how I think the most important how productive they're going to be in society, right? You're trying to get people that come here honestly and want to work and want to better themselves and not commit atrocities like that.
And then you have culture shock. You have people who are making a transition into a different country, different language. So there is going to be an adaptation point.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. I mean, you open the borders, everybody comes in. You don't know who you're getting,
Yeah.
really.
No, for sure.
You don't even know if there's leaper cells there.
Yeah, and that was
Absolutely.
that's one of the biggest issues too. That you don't know who
I mean, they can swear to you, yes, I love the U.S., but
I was helping them.
yeah, and then they're activated or whatever, then they go. And
yeah, so that's another issue too. But yeah, it's crazy of how people misconstrued a picture, right?
Yeah.
Without getting all of the.
You know, I have a thing too, like especially as a Christian, like I can't deny that people want to better their lives. And remember when there was those things happening from Mexico, where they were attempting and dying crossing and
Mhm.
whatnot. But like I also like remember reading stories, and I don't know Haiti what was going on there, but I do know like there's been times in Mexico where people are just like starving in the sense too that they can't make any money, that like extortion got really bad. Like it was just poverty, extreme poverty. And I don't deny anybody's right to survive, you know what I mean, to do whatever they got to do. Like I'm the product of illegal immigration, and a lot of people here are, you know. And so there is sympathy from my part in the sense of like, oh yeah, let's do it order, let's do it a certain way. Yeah, but at the same time, I'm not upset with their attempts to just survive. And that's the problem, you know. It's
Yeah.
not okay, I want to get ahead, I want to make money, the American dream. Let's leave that aside. But what about, I want my children to not have to hold a gun at the age of 12. I want to be able to make $1 and not owe, you know, these extortionists like 60% of it. Like that's, and I you know that I start to have the mixed feelings there where I can't even I don't know what to, I'm stuck in the middle there, you know,
Yeah.
because going one way would be hypocritical for me, and I can't stand there. Yeah.
Steph, you got it?
Yeah, it was correction. It was Fort McCoy
McCoy.
in Wisconsin. And yes, 2 Afghani refugees. They're facing charges of sex crimes against a minor, domestic abuse. So one of them, a 20-year-old Barua Nori, he was trying to engage in a sexual act with a minor. And she was 16. Then the other guy, 32-year-old Mohammed Haroon, Imad, he was assaulting his wife by choking and suffocating her.
And that kind of stuff flies over there, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
It's loud.
Yeah.
It's loud.
Yeah.
and what, so they want to bring all their beliefs and all that, and then
Well,
look,
Sharia.
and then we have our leaders here that are like absolutely everything.
Yeah, please
goes
do it.
down. Please, you know, we beg you.
Yeah, please keep on doing
Yeah.
what you're doing, and you'll be cool. Yeah, that's what they do. You can, any minor, you can go and whatever, and
So as soon as it bites,
choke your wife,
yeah.
kill your wife, kill your
women are they don't
your
have, they don't have
children,
rights and
like all these things. Religion of peace, you know, peaceful things that religion, you know, do.
It's getting old. The whole these people, as soon as like, it bites them and it keeps biting them in their ear, and like they just deny all fault, and then but they're quick to red flag everything that's
Everything else.
oppressive. You know,
that's the problem.
like look at these people. Look what they're doing. You know what you can do with these young women? Like they become property over there. Like what is that? You know. Tell them. Remember that article with the people that were being withdrawn, that pulled out, the soldiers, how they were saying like, hey, for 20 years,
yeah.
these women got to go to school.
Yeah. No,
They
were
got to have a name. They had dignity. They, you know, so would you say like, oh, this was all pointless? No, absolutely not, because they got to taste what freedom was.
Yeah,
you know?
I was watching. I think it was the 9/11 documentary on Netflix. At the end, they asked. I think it was a general or something. They asked him, "Do you think we did it in vain going to Afghanistan?" And then he's like, "You know what? Thinking about it, it's not. No, I didn't. For 20 years, there's a whole generation of women in Afghanistan that were able to feel freedom." Freedom for 20 years. They felt it, be able to go to school, be able to choose your career, be able to walk the street without having to go out with a man, being covered. Like they felt freedom for 20 years, a generation of Afghani women. And I think that's worth it, he said. And I got me thinking, like, right.
That's cool.
They were able to taste freedom for 20 years, and hopefully that changes minds to say, you know what, I think that's a better way of living, right? Being able to have that freedom.
Then it manifests itself like it does here. And
Yeah.
look what we have, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Complete
then
perversion of it.
Yeah, and then you have no idea when you say, or you equate that kind of oppression to this kind of oppression. It makes absolutely no sense, because in that kind of oppression, people die, and right here, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna admit that there's some people that,
sure.
of course, but not in a general sense.
And it was funny because I was listening to what's her name, Kwame Park, I think. She escaped North Korea, and she was talking about how just living here, you hear people complain about on Twitter or on Facebook about freedom. And she said, like, I came from no freedom, right? We weren't even allowed to eat. You couldn't kill a cow. You couldn't kill an animal to eat. They were literally eating rats and grasshoppers
And flowers.
and flowers because they were not allowed to do any of that. It's like I felt I felt no freedom at all. So when you come here and you hear people complain about not having freedom, when you're allowed to eat whatever you want.
Well, and she said, like, I don't understand. I didn't, for years, she didn't understand the
Yeah.
concepts of too much food.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like,
She didn't
you're sick because there's too much food? Like, that's impossible
Yeah.
according to her world she came from, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really eye-opening conversation that she had,
And I think that's the reality that many of those people who protest and complain, they don't want to face the fact that, these countries are really, really suffering from real oppression that it's life-threatening.
yeah, and it's not to say that like our country has everything figured out for sure.
No one is saying that.
I know, but
no one is saying
I just
that.
want to make that clear because
Yeah,
people will
yeah.
say like, oh, no, like we have issues here.
There
We
are a
have
lot of
problems.
issues.
We have problems here that need to be solved.
AOC, stuff like that.
Right.
Issues.
We have real
Just-
problems that
Just messing
but
people.
But I think if you really look at it, like, there's people that are really going through some hard times, some life and death situation every time they wake up, every
Yeah.
time they go to sleep. Like, their life is on the line. And I think sometimes you need to step back and think about where we have the opportunity to live, right? We
Yeah.
have this opportunity to be free and go wherever we want, do whatever we want. And sometimes you got to, just be thankful for that.
Yeah.
And not always try to, say, oh, well, the U.S. we have problems for sure, but I think we're pretty blessed to be here.
You can breathe
Yeah.
For now.
for now. In other news, a very important news. Chris Pratt, he got cast as Mario from the Mario game. That's
Are
huge.
you kidding me?
Thank you for enlightening
I know.
us
Thank
with
you.
that.
I
Yeah,
couldn't-
he
I didn't-
did.
We go from people like the freedom.
They still make Mario, first
This
of all.
is
Yeah,
the-
That's
they
not
do.
on
This is
PS5.
the
They
this is
do.
the
It's
video
on
game portion
PS5?
of the podcast.
They do. They have Mario games. It's
so they're making a movie
they're making a movie
of the game, not the
of
character.
of the game or the character.
So which Mario? Though? There's a bunch of
It's
Mario.
probably animated. Mario,
gonna-
Super
But
Mario.
which one? The first one?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, the classic one.
Dude, they're
Classic
gonna.
Mario.
Yeah, but there's different Mario games.
No, I mean
They better
Mario's
not
still
get
the
all,
same,
like-
still some
Yeah, but
yeah.
you know,
They better not get all
Like-
political.
like the Nintendo
you know,
Mario?
social justice and.
They have a pretty good cast. They have
Who's Luigi?
Charlie Day. Charlie Day's
Who's that?
Luigi, some famous actor,
I don't know what that is.
and
No, I don't know what that is.
so on and so forth. But there is some backlash.
Oh, because why?
Yeah,
Is he
'cause
Christian?
He's not Italian.
Oh,
Okay.
why are you serious?
So Italians, gamers. Okay, Italians. Okay.
Oh my God, dude.
Who,
We're gonna lose viewers
no,
for this.
hold on though. Hold on.
Oh
Hold on. Who made Mario?
Japanese
Yeah, Japanese people.
Yeah.
So Italians, for some reason,
are upset.
are upset. They're not upset because Japanese people created a character that is stereotypical. They're upset. Italians, supposedly, gamers and jokesters unite against Chris Pratt's casting in Super Mario Bros.
Wow. I'm telling you, people have too much time on their hands. They have just to get upset about everything. Are you serious?
Apparently, we have too much time on our hands.
This is important news.
Yeah, but like, who's upset? I want to know who's upset at this. I want to see what are you doing with their life that you're upset somebody got cast.
Well, the article says Italians, gamers. Apparently,
Which Italians?
That's what I'm saying. Apparently, all Italians,
I do
all
not believe
gamers,
it.
and all jokesters, and they're united against the
Pick up
casting.
a hobby,
Pastor,
please.
where is this coming from? I just want to point out the source you're using.
Let's move
What was
on.
it? What was
Mario.
it? What source was this? Let's see.
It's
What
your
is
neck
it?
your neck of the woods.
Which is what?
Vanity
It's your
Fair.
neck of the
Vanity
Vanity
Fair?
Fair.
Exactly. Fashion, my friends.
There you go. See,
think we should move forward.
important news. Important news.
I just
But see, I think this is the culture you
So
create.
you're a fashion buff. Have you ever seen Zoolander?
that's not fashion, Pastor.
That is. What do you mean?
No,
You haven't seen what they call fashion?
not
now?
that kind of fashion.
Yeah, that's some crazy
Have
stuff.
you noticed that? The
Wait
big
a
old
minute.
bows.
There's like,
No.
I
Yeah,
think we
it's-
should move
it's-
on.
What?
So-
What did you say?
I
I
said,
just
think we should
I
move
just
on.
think this is the culture you create when you start focusing on people's ethnicity and color, and are you seriously worried about who's playing?
So
the
you
next
guys,
man?
you've heard of the new James Bond movie too, right?
No.
Yeah, I think they're trying to cast
Yeah.
somebody else. I forgot.
Yeah, a black woman. I can't remember her name.
I don't know.
To be 007 now.
I don't know.
And then she says that James Bond can be anybody at all. And then because they're trying
Which
to
is true.
But it's not. But it's
It
not.
just seems to be like, let's cast a woman. Oh, and let her be black, right? Whoa, let's track everybody. So
She's gay.
and she's gay, and she's whatever.
She's
But-
non-binary.
I know, but here's the thing. So they're trying to cast a man,
Okay.
right? 007, a man.
She identifies
a
as
British
vaccinated.
man or whatever. And now supposedly a woman's gonna take over or whatever.
How about
That's fine.
How about we make,
whatever? But
we
the
make-
point. But the point is this that she started saying that whenever she heard of people not welcoming that, she thought of segregation.
wow? Here we go.
Wow. How do you go from one place to another?
Was she there? Like, did she witness that too,
I
or
don't
what?
know, man.
I think Pastor.
That's ridiculous. You know why where people are not going to watch it? Because you can't do that in a series. Because James Bond needs to stay James Bond.
James Bond is just one.
Because
How about
if
make
because
him
now when
American?
you make that twist
if her
plot,
name-
I don't care about
if
it
her name
anymore.
is Juanita
Make a Mexican.
something, right? And her number is 009. And I'll be like, yeah, okay. Juanita
Just make him the Mexican.
Bernard,
007.
09. That's fantastic.
Bernard, huh?
That's an original.
Juanita.
Pastor,
That's
are
an-
you trying to stay away from Juanita Bynum?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Like,
Good think of her. Yes, guilty as charged.
How about just make 007 American?
James JB though.
Make him
James Bond,
American.
James
How about that?
Justin Bieber.
Let's offend everybody.
Justin Bieber.
And
Huh?
make him American.
They've done that with Robin Hood though.
No,
Twice.
but let's make it with
Twice.
British people would be upset if we make him American.
They were upset when Kevin Costner was cast as Robin Hood. They made fun of him.
Were they? It's back in the 90s. Pastor.
Yeah,
Nobody
but
cared
they made
about-
fun of him. There was no internet.
It wasn't
Nobody
even
cared about
good,
that.
good quality video. Back
They made fun of him because he didn't have a British accent.
Pastor, at one
I
point.
think that's like different. If
governor.
you're poking someone at their accent,
Yeah.
then that's like funny.
Well,
you know?
because
That's what he
Robin Hood is like English, right? It's
Well, yes,
British, so
but
it's-
proper.
obviously, like, you.
so is
you know,
like
try
so
better.
so 007 is like our Rocky, you know, like you know.
007 is 007.
Yeah, but he can't be American. He has to be British.
Exactly.
English.
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
But if you that here's a point because you think why are we talking about this? If you oppose to that kind of nonsense, then you're the one
Yeah.
that you're racist.
But I
and a
think
bigot
at one
and
point,
all these
Pastor, with
things.
all this craziness, I just laugh it off. And you know what, dude? What are you gonna do?
I just won't
Because
watch
it's
it.
just plain crazy.
Well, I didn't know this was going on until you guys brought it up.
You didn't know?
Yeah,
I didn't know either.
Super Mario.
I heard about 007, but I didn't hear about.
They make no
007.
money off me anyways. I watch it on a boot on a jailbroken
We don't
Fire
want to know.
Stick.
We don't want to know what you do.
How about
Kind of.
Italian? They make good pizza, good pasta. You know, who cares about Mario?
Not all of them.
Well, you know, I don't know where you're gonna eat Italian food.
Yeah,
but-
well, if you go to
I don't know.
Pepitos and
Pepitos?
the owners are
What's that?
like Hispanic and they
well, mostly all the cooks in restaurants are
That could
Hispanic.
also
Pastor.
be,
Cook.
Pretty interesting,
Cooks.
man.
Yeah, the
that could
cooks.
also be,
We'll make anything.
Yeah, sometimes there was a Thai food place and I was like, this has to be authentic. Nope.
Mexican. Right?
they were, but
Hey,
the
we make-
workers though. But the
My
recipe
uncles were
is-
back there.
Yeah, but we're the one that make it. We make it.
I don't know who said this. I don't know who said this,
Italian.
but if you go to a restaurant and the staff and most of the people don't speak English or your language,
Mhm.
and they speak the native one, that
Mhm.
means that the food is a little closer to the originality
Oh.
of where it should be.
Well,
It's kind of true though.
yeah.
Kind of.
You know what's crazy?
I don't know if
too?
it's 100% true.
Yeah.
So let's get off the Mario topic.
Yeah.
We're off already.
already off.
Let's just put the picture one more time.
Oh wow,
That's Mario right there.
Okay.
All right, we're good.
Wow.
wow.
Brother Chris.
Who?
Is he really though?
Brother, well,
Yeah.
that's what he says he is.
Nah,
am I
guys,
somebody
think
doubt
we
him?
have a double standard here.
I don't
Wait,
know.
so
why is there? What do you mean
Another
stop
thing.
standard?
Another thing is that you guys know the Harry Potter thing, right?
No, Pastor.
Well, the
I know
books.
they're all on
Okay,
HBO
I-
Max now.
Oh yeah, they are.
But you know the books, right?
I know the books. I never read one.
Well, according to some newspapers and articles,
wow.
Oh,
Jake-
J.K. Rowling?
yeah, J.K.
Yeah, it's
Rowling
a she.
is a she.
But they didn't want her name on there because
Oh,
it was a she.
What do you mean?
Yeah, originally they didn't want her
She's
people to
you
know
didn't
that
know she was a she?
She's
No,
always
I know
been
she
though,
was a
right?
she.
Yeah, she's always been a she.
I've seen her picture.
They actually don't.
But I heard originally they didn't want.
They actually
like,
don't.
to
I don't think the left
her
likes
get
her.
out there
though.
her name on there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
don't think the
I
left
think
likes
it
her
was
very
more
much.
of her like, you know how they do like a surname?
Yeah,
They do that a lot in literature.
yeah, they do.
what I
Like,
because
yeah.
we're speaking about Chris Pratt and how Christian he is and whether he's not or
Well, I don't
okay,
know.
yeah, whatever.
I'm not questioning anybody.
Yeah,
you know.
me neither. But
Steph is, but
I
I'm
read
RBF for
doing,
me.
No, I'm
doing
just
some
saying
research.
we gotta play it fair because we question other people.
Who do I question?
Like who?
By who?
Let's just watch all the podcasts and
Oh, let's go. Well, which ones? You just
Hey man,
we don't have time for that.
valid.
Ain't nobody.
we
got time for that.
question them when they do some suspicious stuff. That's the only time we question.
some shady stuff.
Yeah.
It's like brother Copeland.
Okay, so what was I saying? So somewhere,
Brother West.
oh
yeah.
in doing some research and reading about it. Hold on to your seats.
Oh wow.
She's supposed to be Christian, practicing Christian.
Is she? I didn't know that.
I knew she was gonna say that. Is she really?
I didn't know that.
So she's supposed to be like Christian.
She has come out against like all that transsexual women and all that, you know, all that stuff.
like all that LGBT.
Yeah, all that LGBT
Yeah,
stuff. She's
yeah.
and they have given her like they've come at her about for out of that angle. Yeah, I know that. That's the only thing I know. Where
Yeah, I don't know if it's she's professing or practicing, one of the two,
Mm-hmm.
maybe both. But she didn't reveal that until the last book or something like that. That she came out like, "Hey, I'm a Christian."
Yeah.
She's already balling.
So supposedly she put a lot of like references and shades of Christianity in it and stuff like that. So, anyways, I'm doing a workshop yesterday for the conference about church and technology. And I said, hey, don't reject everything, you know, before you say it's the devil, just like the TV and everything else. Just explore it. Just, you know, see how you can use it for God's glory. So I mentioned that. So, for example, do you guys know this? And they, oh, brother, yeah, whatever you say, I don't believe her and I don't agree. You know, he says that. And I was like, hey, and I said, hey, what did I just say? Before you discard something, before you just reject it, just make sure that you do your research. But did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't know that at all.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not saying go read the books. That's not what I'm saying.
Just watch the movies.
I'm just saying that this is what the news says.
I'll save you time and just watch the movies.
Have you guys ever seen it?
No, have you seen it, Pastor?
I have seen it. Yeah,
I never.
It's never called
Never been into
called
it.
my attention.
No.
But I know she follows the line of C.S. Lewis and Gerald Tolkien.
Does she?
You know, the Lord of the Rings and
I never got into Harry
you
Potter.
know the whole fantasy,
No.
magic and
No.
stuff like that.
So that was the nerd section.
Those are
North?
huge news.
Is it?
Yeah.
For who?
You know, politics and stuff.
Is it?
Yeah, we need to know.
Was that huge news for anybody on this table except Pastor?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was for you.
it's just intriguing.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I don't think Steph is amused.
You like Harry Potter?
Or Mario.
You don't care about this stuff? Are you gonna go see the new movie?
Rosie, you care about that?
Are you gonna go see
I'll lend you my jailbroken Fire Stick.
Joe.
Anybody?
Are you gonna go see the new movie about Gucci?
Gucci.
Gucci. You're gonna go
She-
see it
she's-
with Adam Driver?
He's
And
Christian.
Lady
you know,
Gaga?
Lady Gaga.
you know, Gucci is Christian también.
Gucci?
Yeah.
Christian. I know my facts on that.
Oh yeah.
It's not.
What's the
No.
What are the facts?
What are the facts?
He's not Christian.
Oh, it's a guy?
Died.
He got killed.
Yeah.
Oh, he got
Yeah,
killed for
got
what?
Killed. The wife hired a hitman. Well, you say it.
Oh yeah, you got hired a hitman.
Yeah.
Or
that
Versace.
Versace?
Oh, is that Versace?
No, talking about Versace.
Yeah, Versace.
Is that Versace? Wasn't it Gucci?
Ah,
No.
one of them.
House of Gucci.
So now we're talking fashion, huh?
That's what the movie
Wow.
is. House of Gucci.
We talk everything.
Gucci
Here.
or Gucci?
Let's move on. Let's talk about the Bible.
Yeah, this is.
And we go to the main topic.
I think everybody tuned out with.
Oh,
Yeah, I turned out. So,
What?
Can we go to the main topic?
Oh, I think
Who is that?
Rosie has
oh,
that. Rosie, her first day on the show, and already.
she's putting her foot down.
Wait, we forgot the like super big case right now.
Oh, what's her name?
Oh, Petito.
Gabby
Petito?
Gabby Petito.
He did it.
Andre.
He did it. That's it.
Why would you run?
Yeah.
They're gonna know.
Yeah, I think today was. They're gonna know. Today was her.
How would they know?
Today was her funeral.
Was it?
Was
today?
it?
Yeah, today.
That's messed up, man. So it was her. They came out and they said it's absolutely
Yeah,
her.
they had her. Yeah.
Is he still on the run?
Yeah,
Apparently.
I think he did something.
You know, when I saw that cop video
Or the
though, it
parents,
was
like-
I was like, that guy does not look like a killer, and he was like,
Me too. That's what
and then she looked a little cuckoo, you know.
Wow,
I,
wow.
She looked really emotionally
She
like
was-
like,
she was
like
going- she was-
unstable.
but
She
I
was
think
going
the
through-
And he
cops
was
could've
just so,
not
like-
dismissed it.
She was going.
Yeah, but I
she was
don't-
going through something.
You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe that should be a red flag if that he was like, no, I'll go to jail. Like,
Yeah, but
you
see,
know,
I don't
maybe
think the cops
he
had
was
much on-
trying
they
to
didn't have
like
much.
Hello, Annie Marie.
harbor her, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think the cops had much though, right? Because
When?
during when
Well-
they stopped
When they
them,
stopped them?
because she said that they were fine.
Well, she took the blame for it.
Yeah, she was blaming
If-
herself. I
if
saw some of the video.
Whatever it was.
Yeah,
she
she's like,
clearly
"Oh, yeah, I
said,
did hit him,"
"I'm
or
the
yeah.
one that hit
Yeah,
him," and-
and she's like, "Oh, I'm just going through stuff." So I think the cops couldn't do much. Like if she's not, she didn't say anything.
Well, nevertheless, there's people who are blaming them because they didn't do enough.
Like, what do you want? If there's no physical evidence, like bruises on her face.
Yeah. Like they should have done something. They should have done enough. They saw this. They actually
The parents should have never let him go.
they actually separated them.
Well,
They
they're-
did.
Right?
They
They
should have
asked,
never
I mean,
had
they
him.
asked
Get
them
him
to
home.
spend the night
Yeah.
apart.
Separate.
You know, but I'm saying is like everyone like there's always someone to blame. You know.
Yeah, but like I think when you look, I saw part of the video and it was when she was saying, "Oh yeah, it's me." You know, it was me.
But do you think she said that because
Yeah, but at that
the
point,
same
she was
victim
severe?
mentality?
but
I don't know.
No.
okay.
You have to
He
understand.
didn't look manipulative
But
like
you-
that, though, did he? Like
he didn't
I
look-
saw the
he
video
didn't
and it
look
was like,
it.
what?
He didn't look
Well,
like.
well,
he
look-
didn't look like it.
Yeah,
but
but-
we-
Well,
what he-
most of them don't look like
yeah,
Exactly.
but
Oh, they usually have
Exactly.
the eye of the
No.
creep.
the
Yeah.
problem is this.
that has nothing to do with
That's a
it.
stereotype.
That has nothing to do with it. It's not how they look.
correct one.
It's not how they look. It's not.
No.
It's nothing like that. It's
Yeah.
the relationship
I think
itself.
we
Well,
Like you
But-
seen the Ted Bundy tape?
But-
That guy, I knew he did
Okay,
it.
okay.
But look, but we should bring it back though.
Let's talk to the lawyer.
What
in the-
no. I'm just like like level playing field,
Uh-huh.
right? They were officers.
Yes.
So they're gonna take one of them. That was taking like the lead or whatever. He talked to all the parties.
Yes,
he
he
talked to
did,
the
yes.
people that actually called
Yeah,
them to
yeah.
alert them to what was going on, and they said, "Hey, like all the stories check out."
He went
so
on
what
his
are they
checklist.
supposed to do?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they presented like 2 or 3 options to them. Jail.
Yeah.
You go by yourself. She goes by
Yeah.
herself. Do you have family members? Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they opted for, look, we can
Yeah.
get you a place.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, let's get you a motel or whatever, and let's her go on the van.
Yeah.
So after that, their job is
Yeah,
done.
and then I don't know what the laws are in on Utah, but I think there is
They're
some
supposed
there
to.
is some states that say if somebody just accuses you of domestic violence,
There's no going back.
they could arrest you. They don't need the test. They don't need you to be accused by the person that was actually the victim. If somebody sees you in the act, they could arrest you. So I don't know how the laws are in Utah, but I know that some states are to do that. But if she said that it was her fault and she keeps claiming that, and the guy didn't seem like there was no like bruising. I think he only had a bruising. She didn't have anything. So there's not much the cops can do.
Yeah, that's one thing. Annie Marie Leja, your sister, says that there had been some reports of abuse previously.
Oh well, yeah, but they're not. The cops
But
aren't
but
at the
those
moment.
are coming.
Yeah.
Those are
After.
coming out after the fact.
Like when you're
So-
there, there's no way to find out.
But even though, see what people
From him to her?
Yeah, people saw them arguing at like a restaurant.
No. Reports of abuse.
before.
No, it wasn't on his file. It wasn't a record. It's things they saw after, like on their trip. People are coming
Oh.
forward and like, oh, we saw them.
Well,
here
yeah, they're after the
arguing.
fact, but they didn't
Yeah.
report it to the cops.
They're not
or anything.
records
Yeah.
because
But even though, so the cops came, they come right, and she,
She's like she's like,
upset,
she's crying. Yeah,
but they're not doing anything in front of them. You understand?
Yeah.
Like they have no evidence that except what she's saying
Yeah.
or what he's saying,
or what they call her said.
So they're very
Yeah.
limited as to what charges, what actual charges.
Yeah.
That
And one of them
Yeah.
has to press the charges in order
Yeah,
for this to
yeah.
work. That's one thing.
And she did-
not in Utah.
Not in
No,
Utah.
in Utah,
The
they
state
got
will
a
do it.
call. They got a call, and that's why the police
Police were there.
officers stopped them.
Yeah.
Because someone called in and say, "Hey, we
But-
see whatever," right?
but
so
they-
they stopped him. The cop shows up. He gets the statements from both. They
Yeah.
separated
Yeah,
them.
yeah, they did. Which
Like
they do.
immediately,
They weren't
was
allowed
like,
to
"Come
talk.
here."
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
They took her to the truck, and he
He
stayed
stayed
in the
in the-
van. The stories checked out, both of them.
Yeah.
Plus the story from whoever called the
Yeah, 'cause
police officers, they checked out.
Yeah.
Now, in Utah, The moment that the officers get involved, it doesn't matter like if they start saying no, like
It's the
we
officer's
we
discretion.
didn't do anything. It was just like something really small. Like it doesn't matter. You're going to jail. Like no one needs to press charges. The moment that the cop steps in, that's the law
And
in
he-
Utah.
But it's up, so it's up to
So-
him. So
No, it's not up to him.
Oh,
it's completely up to the police officer.
That's what I'm
If you
saying.
see the whole.
So it's up to the police
video,
officer. It's
yes,
officer
he
discretion.
said, "Listen, I can't let you go."
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why they let her go and didn't take her to jail
Mm-hmm.
was because she said, "Hey," they let her go on a technicality. Did you intentionally? Did you have a willful intent to hurt
Yeah,
him?
the problem
And
is that
said
she was
no.
the one that hit him because he's the one that.
Exactly.
That's the problem, that she was the one that admitted to hitting him, and he had the bruise on his face.
So these reports of abuse was
No, I think
because
the
of
call was
her or because
the
of
call
him?
was that they were just fighting, right?
They were.
There was no. I don't think that the caller said, "Oh, they hit her," or they.
No.
They had an argument and they're
Now
kind of
it's
struggling in
coming
the
out
car.
after that's coming
Yeah.
out after that they're saying that the guy
Yeah.
hit her whatever, but
Yeah.
that's after the
Yeah,
fact.
so
That's not in the call.
So if you go by the officers, they have a call of a fight, not like oh, somebody got hit. It was just like an argument.
Domestic dispute.
Yeah, dispute, which you can for sure
Okay.
say somebody got hit, and then you show up and she's saying I hit him, and then he has a bruise on his face.
What?
Well, she's the one that says she admitted to hitting him, and he has a bruise on his face.
My way of thinking is that if there's proof or maybe
Mm-hmm.
reports or whatever the case may be that there has been more than once an abuse,
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming he's the one that abused.
But I don't know.
Whatever the case may
Are
be.
those coming after though?
Okay, but my question is this. In retrospect, you could say it was the cops, it was this and it was that. And what I'm about to say might not land me in a good place. But sometimes when you're in an abusive relationship, you blame yourself. You take full responsibility so that the other persons are not harmed or whatever, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
whether manipulations or whatever. So my question to anybody who's watching, to you guys, is, how long do you stay in an abusive relationship?
Ooh, that's-
I think
Right.
that turns like too personal. I think that
Well,
turns
it's
into,
just-
like a
it-
ground that I think first of all maybe we don't have the ground to
Yeah.
give an answer because I don't know, but I have
Yeah.
I just don't know about the
Yeah.
subject. But I think because we're in the current events section, like this is the like did he do it? Did he not?
I
Is
think
there a
he did.
possibility that he could have?
I
Yes,
think he
there is. Like
Let's just look at the
did
facts.
maybe
I think
he lashed
100%
out
he did.
after.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that
It's
100%.
totally
Yeah,
possible.
as for the
but-
cops,
but,
blaming the cops, like
Yeah.
if they
That's
did
the one
what
part
they're
I disagree
by
with.
contract,
It's
if
not-
they did what
For the
they
law,
were
yeah.
supposed to do, then let them continue with their
Yeah, I don't-
job, because otherwise, all right, then alter their job description.
My point is this. My point is this. Beyond them, because there needs to be a lesson to be learned. This can't be just fascination with this
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all this. This is a lesson to everyone and every relationship that exists.
Correct.
The moment that there is
Turns physical.
physical,
Dishonor, even like
yeah,
Yes.
is the moment that you have to do something.
Oh, for sure.
Because love doesn't equate to punching somebody or verbally abusing somebody
Yeah.
or just saying, "Well, I love you. You're gonna change and you can hit me as much as
Yeah.
as you can."
he hits
Whether-
me because he cares.
Whether it's intentionally or unintentionally or
Yeah.
consciously or unconsciously, the lesson here is that if you're a girl, if you're a guy, number one, don't hit a woman, and if you're a lady, love does not equate to you being physically assaulted.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, and that's what I'm asking. I mean, beyond them, let's just move beyond them.
Yeah.
I mean, a sister, somebody maybe, and then I've wondered as a pastor, like, why?
Yeah.
Right?
It's tough to.
It is tough.
It's tough to probably like make it logical, try to rationalize it. It's just people going to are in relationships with and they already have like issues with them, right? Self esteem, whatever it may be. And it's tough to try to, like I said, rationalize their thinking or their behavior
Yeah.
after the fact. It's just is
But
tough.
but this is after the fact for them.
That's
But
what I'm
this-
saying.
But this is before the fact for a lot of people who are in it right now.
oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
there's no-
I can't say what she was thinking, what he was
Yeah.
thinking, but the patterns are there.
yeah, oh yeah.
If it is, and
Like-
they don't change. They don't change from one couple to another.
Yeah, there's
an abusive relationship is an abusive relationship, and it has its consequences. And sometimes it doesn't get to this point. Sometimes,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
absolutely.
it gets to this point.
there's no excuse for it.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's never a moment, there's never a time, there's never the right, or there's never an excuse to get physical, get like verbal, and start fighting like that. There's never a space for that.
yeah,
So it shouldn't even get to that point. You know.
yeah. And he says that there are many women and men that are afraid to admit that their relationship is abusive, and the girl best friends notice how controlling he
Yeah.
was with her.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
tough, but
Well, do you think that turns inward sometimes, whether he or she like?
We have
someone
girls
to-
here.
for
I like
someone
to,
to
I like to hear
allow-
the perspective here.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. But what do you think of this? Like I think for someone, doesn't it turn inward in the sense of like if someone doesn't know their worth to allow, like I said, dishonor or disrespect, like what, like you know what I mean? Then
Like low self-esteem.
Yeah.
exactly,
So
like
that's it.
like how you're to be treated. You know,
Yeah.
that sometimes like
I-
for
I'm-
you to allow that says that how do you feel about yourself?
Yeah, and I'm sure
You
there's
know?
some of that, but I'm pretty sure also that there's more factors than just.
oh,
self-esteem.
yeah, it's
There's much.
Yeah,
much
but
more
that
than
one there alone will
Yeah, that
flag
one,
all of
that
it.
one's
you
there.
know?
It's
But
hard.
usually, isn't it true? Like even as sinners, we're the last ones to realize our own condition.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
that
mean
too.
that's very true.
It's hard to look in the mirror.
Yeah,
It's hard to look
exactly.
in the
I mean, we're saying because we see.
Yeah.
But if you're in it, you're gonna go like, no. You know, everything's cool.
Everything's okay?
Everything's okay. Yeah, and it's part of that thing that, you know, your own condition. You don't see it.
What do the women say on the podcast?
They're just letting us talk, and
We're mansplaining.
I know we're mansplaining. That's what they're doing.
Well,
Totally.
the table is open. Go ahead. The mic is open.
Yeah,
Oh,
go for
Rosie,
it.
You can go first.
No, go ahead.
Wow.
I need a minute to gather my thoughts. I'm just kidding. Go.
Wow.
You go.
Ooh.
I think it starts like with little things, you know, and then it just
Oh,
evolves.
that's amazing.
Ooh.
So I don't.
Yeah, that's heavy.
It's
That's what
not
you guys should
something
talk.
that happens like
Full
today
blown?
to tomorrow, and it's not necessarily just a
Physical.
relationship like you know, a man and a woman or whatever. Like it could be any type of relationship.
Yeah.
It just starts with like letting little things go that evolve more and more until you get like to the
You're
physical part.
tangled. You're
Yeah.
tangled.
An unhealthy.
And you don't know what
yeah.
you either don't know what to do. How do you get out of it? You start feeling
You start
like,
believing that you deserve it, so you don't know
Exactly.
how to get out of it.
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Oh,
I
wow.
think the other side too
See?
is
Yeah, that
but-
kind of
but
like
before
you
we-
feel
intuition I
for
cannot
the
bring
other
to the
person.
table.
Before we move on, though, because
Okay.
this is
Why is this?
no. I just want to point
We
out.
don't want to hear no more.
No.
Sums it up. That's about sums it
No,
up.
guys. I actually want to motivate it because here, check it out. How many times do we actually speak of this in church?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't talk about it now, and it's happening.
No.
You know, when are we going to talk about it? You know, that's the reason why we made this podcast.
That's true.
So that we can bring a biblical perspective into this. I may not be in a abusive relationship. None of us are, but we know what abuse is.
Yeah.
We know what it looks like, and we need to, speak it out. We need to just point it out. You know what I'm saying? So this is very important right now.
Okay, go on.
So I love that you said, starts with little things, because if you don't realize that fact that it starts with little things, then, you're going to miss a lot.
It's like it even
But
connects
then
to
how
the.
do you know what's the little things though? Sorry.
That's for
I think that's where I think.
Well, just like
that's
everything
where
else, like that,
we
like Pastor
realize,
has
though.
preached before, like
Yes,
no
but
one just full blown like throws their
that's
life
it.
away overnight,
Yeah,
Like,
but
you-
I just want to bring up the point that
It's-
that isn't a perfect world sometimes,
Mm.
And usually
Mm-hmm.
these things click in your head or like the sermons because you know of an experience or
whether you're part of or not,
Yeah.
you just firsthand like experienced it
oh,
or witnessed it,
what I missed it.
like whether firsthand or you witnessed, like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
Agreed.
You have anything else? Rosie?
I just think there's not a lot of education that women know of like the small
Oh, I
like
love it.
Beth was saying. I think when we think like abuse, we just think physical. Oh, I'm not getting physically abused, so then I'm not being abused. But because we don't know all these little things like we're not educated on the small things that are abuse, like the controlling, manipulation, self-guilt, or turning, like gaslighting. That's also abuse, but we don't.
What is gaslighting?
When
I've heard this, but in a way different.
like they turn it around, like, oh no, I did this because you did this.
That's
you
what that
acted
means?
like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
you
yeah,
turn
yeah.
it
You
back.
deserve it.
Yeah,
That's
like, I
so
wouldn't have
You're-
hit you if you would have not talked back to me. Or you would have not.
Oh, that's what that means.
That's gaslighting.
Or
Whoa.
And then you
let's
start believing
do
that, like,
Where did you
oh,
hear it?
I shouldn't have
way
said
different.
that then. I shouldn't have said that. That's
Yeah.
why I did
Yeah.
deserve
I think
it.
you start
Understand?
feeling like, I guess, sorry or guilty
guilt, like,
or
oh, I shouldn't
and
act that way
actually.
because then he's gonna. Now I know not to act like
Yeah.
that.
Or the other thing
Yeah.
could be
Get
that
mad.
you have that
Exactly.
dynamic, right, in the relationship, but then you have the other part of it that when it's okay, it's intense
Yeah.
and it's so emotionally powerful that you're thinking, oh, I can deal with this, but I want more of the other stuff, you know?
Or you start getting
So
confused, like
you-
that's love.
Yeah, that's love.
Oh, he's
exactly.
controlling me. He's checking my phone because it's love.
Yeah.
Because he
Loves me,
cares.
He cares.
For me. So, Cindy, who is sitting right here, she says there are many factors: codependency, financial issues, embarrassment, and denial. And I agree. Fear of being alone. Mothers don't leave. I'm sorry, because of their children, because of the finances too. Like, where am I gonna go? Like, I've heard that argument. Like, where am I gonna go?
Yeah.
You know, he pays for everything,
Oh.
or he.
That's like helplessness.
I mean, do
and,
you,
and
do you
nobody
get
should
any
feel
sense? No, no,
helpless
no,
in any
they do
circumstance, you know?
everything.
Did you
But-
say mothers? Well, I missed that last part.
Some, like, yeah.
Yeah, mothers and
Oh, like mother and children,
Yeah,
yeah.
or
They
have
parent
a
and
relationship.
child.
Yeah.
Really.
You've heard the whole thing, like, well, that's their father. Like, I can't do that to my children.
Yeah.
That's like your kids are gonna turn 18, and they're
Yeah.
gonna probably leave, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be stuck with someone who never.
I don't think they think about.
They rationalize it.
Yeah, like it's more.
that
You
here
cause
now.
more damage.
Yeah.
Them seeing that, and then they grow up and
Whoa.
they don't break the cycle, and it continues. And the kids are like start acting like their parents and in their relationships. And,
Well, that's
you know,
normal. Oh yeah.
That's normal
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you grew up seeing that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
But
you
I
can
just-
talk like that to girls because
Yeah,
oh, my dad
that's
did
how
it
you
to my mom my
learn.
whole life. Yeah,
And normally
they-
we are what our parents are.
That's where you learn from.
Maybe this is off topic, but I was watching a documentary the other day. Wait, hold on about
Okay,
this.
okay.
And the guy was like super like family oriented, like great dad, like soccer mom, aka soccer dad, whatever. Everything always there, a good husband. It turns out that in his prior life, like these, like the 20 years before, he had been convicted of murder, rape and
Wow.
murder in Germany.
That's not Ted Bundy.
No, it's another person. He had killed 2 other girls here, and done God knows what with them. But then his second life, like from 30 something or 40 something years old on, like he was like such a good citizen.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Just
Well, I mean,
until
I
you
don't
never
How
know.
that plugs in, but
Yeah.
I just remembered.
And
that,
one more thing, I know with like the whole unhealthy relationships type of thing. I've actually witnessed at a job that I was at, 2 friends who worked together, and just because you spend time with people, you get to witness things, and like people start to vent. I've seen friendships become like weirdly like unhealthy and toxic like that, to where it's not even like, it's crazy. It's like manipulative. It's
Tell me more.
no, this is a bully.
I think I know one.
They're trying to pick on us, dude.
Yeah, we bully each other.
Wally, can we zoom in?
Makes us stronger.
tell me more.
Yeah, no, but like the whole guilt and all that, like I've seen it happen, and that's weird,
Yeah.
Remember when you point at somebody, there's four fingers pointing.
So I got to point like that.
Yeah, play with it. Yeah. That is amazing. That's
If
amazing.
I retaliate, they'll.
I know. That's
But I think I'm a dad, and I think just being in that place, be in that place where you think, what could I have done to prevent it? You know, and you receive this news where, I mean, I can't even imagine someone telling me we found the body of your kid somewhere. You know, that is devastating. So, and you know, at the end, our hearts really, really break.
I don't see why you don't just go to the house and take the parents and be like, okay, like, you know, you knew your son was here.
You think they do?
I hope. Oh, come on.
They had to know.
You know, or like, we'll take you then in lieu. You know what I mean?
They had to know.
2 bodies instead of 1.
So you're telling
paying
me
for it.
the
For
guy,
now, you know?
You're telling me the guy drives back to his house with her car.
It's hers?
I think it's hers. Her car, and she's nowhere to be found.
And then he was spending.
And he didn't talk.
He was using her credit card.
Yeah. Oh, that's what they got him on. He hasn't been charged for her death. They only charged him for
fraud.
For fraud.
Unbelievable.
So
the audacity.
Yeah, to me, well, they don't know if it's her card or he was using somebody else's.
Oh,
card.
okay.
But he was using somebody else's card. I don't know if it's hers or I'm thinking it's hers. But I think what he's been doing or how he's acted, he's guilty. Who acts like that if they're not guilty?
Yeah.
Has the autopsy been finalized?
I
That's
don't
gonna
think
be
they have.
like crazy.
I don't think it has.
No.
I don't think it has.
What do they think though? I mean, just by have they released anything like
No.
what they think it might have happened to her?
I think I heard
They
stabbing.
just ruled
Did I
it
hear stabbing?
No,
I
they
heard
just ruled it a homicide.
a homicide. Yeah.
But
So
they
it
said
means
it'd be 2 to 3
Blunt
weeks.
force
I think.
trauma.
it has to be some kind of a visible mark that she got killed. So it's. if
But
they say
isn't
homicide.
it like automatically once they find the body, that's you're guilty?
No, they
No,
have
no.
to. They have to connect the evidence.
They have to
They have to
connect
connect one person to the other.
Which it all leads back to him.
Yeah, I mean, he was the only one that was with her.
Yeah, there's.
I think it's a matter of time.
So-
The autopsy will reveal how she died
Mhm.
specifically, and it's a matter of time
Yeah.
to conclude or.
They were saying that that it might have been connected to the murder.
But
the other
but
murders.
they said no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they
They
ruled
said-
that out.
Yeah, they ruled it out. Yeah, they ruled it out.
The 2 girls.
So, yeah. So I just think it all points to him, and then the parents too. Like they didn't allow for him to talk to the police when they kind of question him. They lowered up right away, and they've been really quiet. So I don't know. It's just they're all acting like he's guilty. So
Yeah, and her body was not found complete, and she was being eaten by animals.
was she? I'm
Apparently.
pretty sure. Yeah, when you're in the
Wait, where
Didn't read
where did that
that.
come from?
Anna Marie.
Oh no.
From what's her source though?
So Anna Marie, what's your source?
I could imagine if she's out in the Grand Teton National Forest, like
That's pretty bad if it's true.
bears and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Oh,
maybe
man.
not.
Well, she was found really close to where that RV took the video.
Yes, she was found in that
Yeah.
general location.
Well, like supposedly across.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see if he shows up. Or
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they were looking for him at that resort. They didn't find him.
I'll be surprised if they find him alive. I'll be surprised.
I think there's 2 theories on that.
Either he did something to himself, or
I think they're either like trying to find something there, or because you know how they're accusing them of
Well,
how did you let this happen?
Apparently, when he got back, I think supposedly they went camping with the parents, something like that.
So
Well,
you
they're
go,
looking
you
for
come back
him.
without her, and you go camping.
With the parents, yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, what I find sketchy is the parents, though.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Them
Oh,
too.
the parents,
But
yeah.
more specific is
Lock
like
'em up.
we dropped him off, or he went, something
So
like that.
they-
His car
We
was
haven't
there.
seen him
We
since
went to
Tuesday.
go pick it up. We brought it back, but we don't know where he's at.
Which it tells you it's a complete
That's-
lie. Like, come on
Yeah,
now.
the parents are covering up for him.
You think so?
Yeah, but I was reading an article saying they probably can't do much to them. Like, it's like impossible.
The media is never gonna leave it alone though.
What do you mean they can't do much to him?
There has to be like concrete evidence that they knew that
They need
It's
to
hard to
connect
prove.
him back.
yeah, that he,
Text messages.
that
and
she, he said like, oh, I killed her. You know, there has to be.
Or some confession?
Yeah,
Which
which is
at this point is not going to happen.
which
with
is hard.
The
yeah,
lawyers,
Yeah.
like, you know.
which is hard.
So they can't charge him just with any the autopsy, like finding any
No.
They have to link it back.
hairs or like.
Well, yeah,
Well,
they can.
Can't find them.
They can, but at this point, they haven't said anything about that. They
this
only
case
charge
is
them with
gonna,
fraud.
yeah, it's probably gonna go before the jury, so they
Yeah.
need like hard
Yeah,
evidence
for
to
sure.
say like you connect him that he did kill her.
DNA
Because
under
if not, then
fingernails,
it's
something.
probably
And then it involves the FBI too, which because
Which-
it's.
But I
different
think,
states.
the key here is how she died, because how she died determines what was used, and then you have to connect that smoking gun with the cause of death.
Yeah, they have been like going to the house and retrieving stuff.
Yeah.
They impounded the van
Yeah.
and stuff. So I don't know what they found or what.
They haven't released any information.
Yeah, they're gonna probably release that later on. But yeah, it's a tragic thing. It's
That's
very
horrible.
tragic,
It's great.
and not only that, but to be in the public, like that, and the public consciousness,
Yeah.
in that way. I mean, it's horrible. Yeah. So the FBI issued, according to Cynthia, a warrant for his arrest.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did.
yeah, for the fraud.
for the fraud.
Yeah,
Cool.
But
I mean-
to be fair to like, just to be fair,
to be
like he's
Just to be
still
fair.
technically
he's guilty.
innocent
Innocent.
until proven guilty
he's
because
guilty.
we are in the U.S.
Yeah, I know, but it's guilty in my book.
I mean,
You're not acting. You're not acting like you're an innocent person.
just saying there could be another possibility. Like she lashed out. He stopped him. I don't know, right? Like
Yes.
and you got a little too like let's say just hypothetical.
Uh-huh.
He tried to stop her from hurting herself or whatever. Let's say that truly what we saw in that video from the police stopping them, she was like, her OCD and she gets
Yeah.
out of control. Those are her words, okay? And he say that she was trying to hurt herself. He
Yeah.
tried to stop her and he went a little too much. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's still responsible.
Obviously, but think about it. If she
Yeah.
if she died, you don't know how to respond.
Yeah, but
At least like you wouldn't. I'm just saying a hypothetical.
I know, I understand.
That could have been it,
I
and
understand.
he just ran.
But to me-
but where it looks bad is
To
the
me-
whole long time that
to
he
me,
didn't.
to me is how do you act after the case, right?
Yeah,
And he's not acting like somebody that's innocent.
But then again, you have to consider his age.
But that doesn't.
Like, you don't know how you're gonna
exclude
react.
I
in a
understand.
situation.
I understand. But at the end of the day, he's an adult, and you know what's right and wrong, right? So how he's acted after that doesn't seem like somebody that's innocent.
Because of the running, because
Yeah.
of the covering of the parent.
Yeah.
Because
For sure.
Yeah.
Right, and we're not denying that. We're just saying like.
No, I understand where you're coming
there
from.
Could have it.
I-
Maybe it wasn't
yeah.
intentional. Like
I-
it wasn't
yeah.
ill intended. It was
Yeah.
an accident. He didn't know
And
how to respond.
I understand.
And he.
And I understand. I agree with you, but in my book, he's guilty.
Good.
I'm just saying. For her,
Thank
whoever
God you're
cares about
not
my
a lawyer.
opinion,
Yeah.
I know you guys care about my opinion. He's guilty.
No way.
there was another case years ago about, I can't remember his name.
OJ. No,
No, it wasn't OJ.
Look at OJ. He looks more guilty too, and he was.
he's over there.
innocent.
He's over there living it up on.
I
Twitter.
can't remember his
He
name.
had to pay money though to the family.
Oh, I know he did.
That was crazy.
So what does that tell you?
He's guilty.
It was a civil
In
suit.
my book, he's guilty.
Who, OJ? Come on now.
Well, I don't know which one you're talking about, Pastor. There's been so many.
It was kind of the same, but not the same. They were married, and then they went somewhere, and then he came back.
And nowhere to
She
be
was
found.
pregnant,
Oh wow.
and he acted
You're
like,
talking
"Oh,
about
we're
the Lacey one.
Oh, that
Peterson?
Lacey
Scott
Peterson.
Peterson." Yeah,
Yeah.
And then he was searching for
Yeah.
her and all these things.
She was supposedly she went on a jog or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but he's in jail.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the behavior.
Yeah.
Afterwards,
Yeah.
it's like nothing happened. Where's my
Yeah.
wife? I need her and stuff like that.
I remember that.
But he didn't look guilty, and everybody was like,
Yeah, he
Because
didn't
he
look.
was like-
He looked really like.
same with the guy from Colorado.
Which one?
It's like, please, if you have my wife and my kids, bring them back.
Oh yeah.
Well,
He
did
killed
you
them.
ever watch the documentary on the one that he had killed his wife? And then on the neighbor's camera, they had kind of caught him.
Yeah,
putting
that's the
something-
one. That's the
It's
Colorado.
Is that the one where he
Killed his
then
wife
he
and
killed
kids.
his
Babies.
girls?
He killed his wife and
And he put them in the water.
Yeah.
The oil tank,
Oh,
Yeah.
like that?
dude.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Moving on.
So that's what the world looks like.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Crazy times.
That's man's heart without Jesus.
So our topic today,
How long have we been in? How long have we been recording?
it's been an hour and 14 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's what.
So
Thank you guys for joining.
Wow. No, this is the
Stay bright and salty.
This is the bread and butter right here. What are you talking about?
the thing is that it goes with it because
Yeah.
if you commit a crime like that,
Wow.
they never catch. They say they never catch this guy. We don't know if he killed her or not. Let's just assume that,
Maybe he's dead.
or maybe he's at.
Like I
whatever the
said, he
case.
did it. He did it.
Okay, so
Or he couldn't. What happened with? Never mind.
He's not trying to argue with me. Okay, go.
so you have her, you have him,
Mhm.
and if let's say like he does something like a lot of them have done, which is kill themselves. And let's just suppose that happens. Like gunmen that go inside a store and then they pull the trigger on themselves, They never face justice here. And even if you face justice here, it doesn't compare to the atrocities and the crimes that you commit, taking someone's life. So if you die and no one caught you and, that's your ticket out from justice and all this,
And this
life, then the idea is that if there is no hell, there is no ultimate justice.
Mm.
Good segue.
Yeah.
There isn't. So if you don't, let's say you don't believe in that, then that doesn't exist. And let's just take hell like by what the culture paints it as, right? This place where evil people go and they burn forever. But if it doesn't exist, that's it. He's done. There's no justice for her. There's nothing for her, and he got away with it.
Yeah.
But if hell does exist, then there is ultimate justice and punishment.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the punishment or the just punishment for that particular crime becomes something that it's fair. Because no matter how much you throw people in jail, or even if you kill them with the death penalty, it doesn't compare to taking the life of this young girl. Even if you do that, you're not gonna bring her back. You're not gonna see her development for the rest of her life. She was what, 20? 21? Something like that. So there has to be some other kind of justice that goes beyond and is equal to that particular crime. And I don't think anything on this earth, no matter what you do, and you might do it, and as a parent, I would want justice, but it doesn't compare because you don't get anything back. You don't get the girl back. You don't get that life. And you don't get the fact that you have to deal with the memories and the guilt of always thinking, what could I have done? But if there is hell, then you know that the punishment and the justice will be fair and comparable to the crime, and even more. So that's our topic today. It's heaven and hell.
Heaven and hell.
Probably mostly hell, because we don't have time for a lot. But
I'll talk about heaven.
that's what it is. But let's talk about it because
It's a two-parter.
part of the conversation is I was researching, but not in the biblical way, but in the typical cultural way. And I don't know if you know about this.
There's some offensive stuff out there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a video from Sarah Silverman. Have you guys seen it?
The comedian. I haven't-
Yeah, the comedian. So I don't have the video here, and we don't have sound, so I'm not going to show it. But she's on a microphone like us. I don't know if she's in a radio show or it's her show. But she starts saying that, hey, there is no hell. Like, I assure you, like, I guarantee you, there is no hell. If God is real and there is a hell, like, she goes, have him strike me right now. And then she goes like this. And then she goes like, see, nothing happened.
Wouldn't expect nothing less from her.
Yeah. So she says she was screaming to some Catholic kids and telling them, hey, there's no hell. Don't worry about it. Right. Which is funny because, everybody who is an atheist and doesn't believe in God, they equate God with this heavy, horrible party pooper that is ruining your life and gives you anxiety because you have to always please him and you can't do anything wrong because he'll send you to hell, which is the one thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, she didn't get killed or struck by lightning. So therefore, the logic is that she proves by that there is no hell.
She thinks she can important enough to manipulate God's hand.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he didn't strike me down. Therefore, I'm correct. There is no God, and there is no hell. And it's very interesting how they also attribute just hell to God, but not heaven.
Yeah.
Heaven is whatever I want, but hell comes directly from God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They want to paint that picture that he's.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you guys think about it?
Well, like I said, you can't think you're gonna force God's hand. I mean, you don't believe in him to begin with, But the whole hey, strike me dead now,
I know.
you really think that's how that
nothing to
works?
prove.
That's once again
Thank you.
clearly see it as what is he, a genie? What is
I like. Have you guys seen the Avengers?
Never.
I did. Which one?
The first one.
Is it on Pureflix?
I don't remember.
It's in Pureflix. Yeah.
Okay,
There's a scene where Loki he wants to conquer Earth or whatever, and he comes through a portal, and then he kind of tells him I'm here to conquer or whatever, and then Nick Fury tells him, hey, we have no quarrel with you, and then he says, does an ant or could an ant have a quarrel with the boot? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he says that. I mean, genius lines. But it just makes me think of that when she's like, hey, strike me down. It's like,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah, you're an ant.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the boot has no quarrel with you. He's not interested
Yeah.
in smashing you or squashing you, So that's the first thing. But I think the critical thing here is that the easiest way for you to appease your mind is by creating your own reality.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And distorting what's real. And that's what Romans 1 says. They reject, they stop the truth through deceit,
Yeah. I don't know why when we said hell, it reminded me of this episode of, I don't remember what the show.
The Simpsons?
No, I think it was the Twilight Zone or something like that.
The Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Well, it was a long time ago, but I remember there's an episode where some guy passes away and he goes and all of a sudden he's in a reality where he never loses. Everything goes his way, He plays the lottery, he wins it.
Oh.
All green lights, everything is just for him. He there's no struggle, there's nothing, And within time his life becomes meaningless and he's being tortured by, you know what I mean? Whatever he says goes, everything he wants happens, And he's like, I can't handle this. I need some opposition. What's going on? I thought this was heaven. And then that's where it ends when it says oh, you think you're in heaven. You have it wrong. And it was hell, apparently. But everything, you know what I mean? There was no, so I don't know. I don't know why that reminded me of that, but.
Have you guys seen The Avengers? No, just kidding.
Wow.
Thought I could geek out too,
So there are a lot of misconceptions, I think, about this, especially when it comes to Christianity, because it's popular culture and stuff. So what is it that popular culture says about hell? Number one, it doesn't exist, and if it does exist, the idea of hell,
It's more fun.
it's fun, right? Or is earth? Earth is hell. So we don't need anything else.
Yeah.
The cruelty of God, how dare he create this place to send people? Isn't he loving? That's another one. What else? The fact that, people think that God would not do something like that.
He knows my heart.
Yeah, he knows my heart. He knows I'm honest and this and that. So what was your research What did you guys come up with?
It's a bunch of names in the Bible.
A bunch of names.
It refers to hell,
Yeah.
you know. But there's a lot of different ways to see it. I believe some people think that it's complete separation from
Mhm.
God and all the
Mhm.
good things that prevail from Him to begin with. Others say like, oh no, it's like hell's not hell because God's not there. What you're experiencing is His complete wrath. That's what hell is. You know,
That's
God
another
is
one.
there.
Yeah, that's another one.
But that's what it is, you know. And then, I have some, I don't know, they're just observations where I'm noticing, you know. And we discussed it last time where it's like, wait, the enemy, like the devil, he's been defeated. You know what I mean? There's going to be a day where he is put in his place, you know. And the only place he's ruling is here on earth, you know, because once in hell, he's going to be one of the tormented, you know. He's going to be bound as well. And but my observation is, hey, if it's so that, oh, I'm not scared of that, you know what I mean? Or like if you live your life a certain way, it can't be ruled by him, because the master that you serve, why would he punish you for serving him? You get what I mean?
Mm.
So of course it's going to be the wrath of God, because of that is eternal, like, you know, damnation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, just an observation that you know.
I think the one that kind of caught my attention the most. So we were talking about Wednesday when we were going to talk about hell, and I said Matthew, it says, and do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul, rather fear him who can destroy both body and body and soul, and body and hell.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just interesting how you talked about that. It's like, oh yeah, you could kill the body here, but you still have a soul.
Mm-hmm.
And then when in hell it kills both, right? It kills the body, but it also kills the soul. Like, what do you have in you? Like what that relationship with God is, how far apart you were, that soul in us, that's the intimate us, right? That's what makes
But the soul is who we are.
yeah, it's who we are.
The
And
sum
that
of
just-
everything
yeah,
we are.
and it just caught my attention, like when I was reading that. I was just that, and then I was just looking at the history, like I was talking earlier. It was they used the word Gehenna,
Yeah.
which was like the valley of Hinnom in Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
and they say, during part of the history there, it says it was used for child sacrifices.
Yeah.
Then on the later part, it was also the Jerusalem's. That's where they had the city dump.
Yeah.
And they were saying that in order to clear all this dump of the city, is they would have to burn it, and there was so much trash that they had to burn it 24 hours a day, every day. And it was just interesting how God uses that visual for them, right? Like something you could see. It's not something that we can't imagine, or you say, oh yeah, it looks like. But he uses a lot the word fire. And if you look at Jerusalem during that time, you see to that dump, and there's always fire,
It's
and
on
you
fire.
could sense that, you could see it with your own eyes. You could relate to it because you see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just looking at the history of like the wording and what he used, the context of it. It was very like eye opening, you know, like for somebody that lived during those times, not having to imagine it, but actually being able to see something that kind of relates to it. A place where there's misery, there's death. You know, they said they would find bodies there of people would go dump bodies there.
The mafia.
The mafia, right? They would dump
The-
bodies
the
there. You find
sicarios.
corpses, and just imagine a dump that's always on fire, and you just see all this destruction. It paints a pretty clear picture
Yeah.
of what it is.
The things that are useless, the
Yeah.
things that are, all that.
Yeah.
But do you think, well, I know, I mean, there is a lot of like the word where it does the lake of fire. It describes,
it uses
makes those
fire a lot,
descriptions,
yeah.
you know, where there's weeping and gnashing of
Mhm.
teeth. Like that sounds like torment, you know?
Yeah.
However, we also see this, over again and again, when we say the enemy, the devil, and that he's cunning, and that he's like a lion, you know, and that he's smart, but then we also know he was an angel, you know, and lucid, and like what his name means, and you know,
Mhm.
and a lot of times we think this like super like terrifying, fanged, horned like being, you know? And it makes sense because it's torment, you know, it goes along with torment. But a lot of times, like, let's be reminded that he's smart. He perhaps doesn't want you to think of him that way.
Oh.
He wants to appear very attractive and very seductive and very enticing and exactly what it's going to take to lead you astray.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Exactly
So
what you want.
So a lot of times it's very subtle. And like we were saying, it's little by little. He doesn't just convince you to throw your life away overnight and throw your marriage out the window. It's like, look at her. Nothing more. Nothing, no? Because he doesn't want to be identified. He doesn't, I think he wants to work in the darkness. He wants you to not
Shadow.
think he's there.
Yeah.
You know? He wants to just subtly lay down that you know, that
Thought in your head.
that thought, you know, that a whisper, because
Yeah.
and then from then on, like it's our heart whether we hold these thoughts captive or we submit them to Christ, and that's why that is so crucial, that intimacy with the Word and with God. You
Yeah.
know?
So I have many things that I might be able to share today. Not everything, and obviously I don't know everything, but let's start with this.
You don't?
No, you don't. No, I don't. Let's start with this. Number one, it is very clear that Satan and his very nature has to do with lying, death,
Father lies.
with separating as much as he can people from the reality of who God is and replace it with his own reality of who he is. So what do you do with these people? What do you do with these beings? You can't give them free reign because that would be very, very unjust. So you have to create a place where to put them. You really do.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then that means that you as a God, you're indifferent to what they do. You don't care to the level of power of influence that they have over humanity. So you have to create a place, and that's what God does, right? Bible says, well, let's talk about the lake of fire. Bible says that it's for Satan and his angels. That's what that's for. But here's the thing. Anybody who adopts the way of thinking, the lifestyle, anybody who lives his life according to the nature of who Satan is has no place before God. If you spend your life imitating, surrendering, giving in, bending, you have inclinations that have nothing to do with God or his word or anything at all, you can't just create an image of heaven or just say there is no heaven, because your very imitation, your lifestyle reflects not that of God, but that of the father of lies and murder, who is Satan. This is what Jesus says to the Jewish people in John chapter 8, chapter 9, when he's talking to them, and they're arguing with him about who he is. And Jesus tells them this. He tells them, you belong to your father, the devil.
Wow. Yeah.
Why? Because we're evil? I mean, this word is like, you're saying I'm evil? Jesus is like, no, I'm saying that because you belong to the Father, because in your heart you have his desires.
Yeah.
And you want to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Which is, you want to imitate him in his acts, in his envy, in his lies, in his murder.
Yeah.
So that's who you belong to.
Yeah.
So why would you want to expect to be with God when your whole entire life you've rejected God?
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense, does it? Because if that would be the case, then God is unjust. Why? Because he's making you be in a place or be in the presence of him when you don't want him. Now, wouldn't that be abusive?
Yeah. That's
Wouldn't God be the abusive one in the relationship where,
forces you to be.
yeah,
with
I'm going to force you to be with me regardless of what you
Yeah.
want?
He tells him, if you knew God, you would see me. You would
yeah,
know
you would
who I am. And isn't it? I had made a connection right now. I don't know why I just lost my thought. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Hopefully, I'll.
So let's start by then. That's our starting point when talking about this, because that kind of really rejects the idea that, oh, God sends people to hell. Let's say hell does exist, as opposed to what Sarah Silverman
Wait,
said.
we're saying it doesn't?
I found it.
Okay, go for it.
So he says, if you knew God, you would see me. You know who I am, right?
Yeah.
So I believe when you're caught up in those principles and that lifestyle, Jesus becomes just as per se offensive as he was in that text.
Yeah.
He becomes a stumbling block
Yeah.
and an offense, correct?
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting that I heard is a Baptist preacher, but I heard someone say, like, the issue with American Christianity is that we have just the right amount of religion to send us to hell.
Well, that's interesting.
Pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. All right, so that's the main premise here, right? So this place is prepared for, Satan and his angels, and people who imitate and have his desires. They don't belong anywhere near God. They belong with that whom they imitate. And that's the fair thing to do,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a logical thing to do.
Yeah.
So people blaming God left and right for sending people to hell. Bible says that he can destroy your soul. God does. Right? So this isn't contradictory to what Jesus says when he says that, you have to fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. He's not saying he will do it.
Yeah.
He's saying he can do it. But he doesn't do it at his leisure or pleasure or because he is capricious.
He gives us to your
Right?
Yeah.
That's not what he does. He establishes certain things for you to follow. So by implication, if you don't follow, then it's not that he's... one of the examples I read somewhere, it's the law of gravity. It's the perfect example. It's beautiful and awesome until you jump out of a building, right, without a parachute. Then the law of gravity becomes a problem for you. Not because it's a problem in itself, but because you made it a problem. Because you're jumping off an airplane without a parachute, thinking that everything's okay, because you think that the way the law of gravity works when you're on the ground is going to be the same when you're in the air. That's deceitful. You're deceiving yourself.
Yeah.
So you can't just all of a sudden come and say, God, why did you do this? This is your fault because you're sending people to hell. No. He's giving you a choice.
Yeah.
And then they're given to their desires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you insist on rejecting God and the only thing that you want is this, then that's what God gives you.
Wow.
It's as simple as that, right? And C.S. Lewis said this. I think it was The Great Divorce. There are two kinds of people: the people who say to God, "Your will be done," or the people to whom God says, "Your will be done."
Whoa.
That's
scary.
C.S. Lewis says that. So God gives you to your own desires. You don't want me? I'll remove myself from your equation, from your life.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you want. This is your choice. And you say, yeah, I don't believe in
And
you.
this is what this means.
Okay, then this is what it means. You could live a peaceful life and you could be rich. You could everything your heart desires. But it has been established that man dies once and then judgment. Because if there is no judgment, if you're an atheist and you think, when I die, everything ends, then, wow.
You got a surprise coming.
Yeah, not only that, but then what you're saying is that, no one's going to judge me. I'm not gonna be held responsible for anything that I do.
Yeah.
Right? Yet atheists live like if everything is important and matter.
And for the whole only God can judge me, that should terrify you.
Yeah, that should terrify you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be used to like.
It sounds good, but in practice it's a terrifying thing. So we established those principles at the beginning. So God gives you to your desire. This is what you want. I'll give. The fair thing for me to do as a God is to give you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And if you don't want me, you don't get me.
Yeah.
You get everything else, but you don't get me.
It's up to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really up to you. So, in essence, how is God sending you to hell if that would be the case?
You're
No, it's not.
willingly
It's-
going that way.
He said,
Right?
yeah, he says it in Matthew. He's like, enter the narrow gate, for the gate is wide
Yeah.
and easy and leads to destruction.
You have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's not telling you, I'm gonna make you and
Yeah.
you know, twist your arms so you can go in there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be totally your choice. So that's the one thing. And then was it Timothy Keller, a brilliant guy. And he says that, adding to C.S. Lewis, that, people who say to God, your will be done, and people to whom God says, your will be done. When the last part is God says, if that's what you want to do, that's fine, you can do it. And I'll get out of your way from here to eternity. Meaning that when you encounter eternity, nothing's going to change in the sense that you still don't want me, you're still not going to get me. So you're going into eternity without God's not doing anything. He's just getting out of your way, so that you can go into eternity without, God. So that in itself is pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then us Bible believing Christians, if all good things come from God, like what do you think pleasure is? That people have perverted it and have made it completely like dishonorable to what God intended it to be.
Yeah.
But all those things that you consider fun and pleasuring and satisfying, they're God's. Yep.
Yeah.
All there is sadness, torment, helplessness.
Yeah, and
that is the lack of,
And
So sin leads to that.
yeah.
and Titus says that
Death,
to those who are pure, everything is pure, but to those who do not believe, then everything becomes impure. So even the pure desires, they become perverted and distorted. Now you give yourself to those things, to your obsessions, to your own desires. You give yourself to that, and you abandon God, then that's where you end up. What is the result? You got to think about this. What's the result of your own desires? What is the result of you obsessing over this or that, over your identity, over anything else?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the definition of that particular
Yeah.
thing. So then we have the story of Lazarus and the rich in Luke, right? And again, Timothy Keller, he alludes to that story to explain a little bit of hell, right? And I have to bring C.S. Lewis again.
Please do.
Because he says something important. I'm paraphrasing what he says. I don't have the quote in front of me, but he does say that it starts with a grumbling, right? There's the grumble, and then there's you. But all of a sudden, that grumble becomes you. You become that grumble. To the point that you're inseparable. You can't separate the grumble from the person or the person from the grumble. They become one thing.
You're
you
bound
know?
to it.
Yeah. That becomes who you are. And I thought that was interesting because when we go to that story, the Lazarus and the rich, right? And it says right there that the rich guy was he was a nasty man. I mean, he was very cruel. And, he should be taxed more. I agree with that, with him. And Lazarus was a beggar. He had nothing, right? He had nothing. So they both
Double
die.
standard, Pastor.
would-
Double
He
standard.
would have worn that dress.
No, this particular rich man, this particular rich person.
So it's the rule applies to all or to none.
Okay, so it says that they both die, and notice the Rose is gonna find the scripture.
Oh, I don't have it.
Okay, cool.
Lel.
So notice how it says
Reina Valera, please.
one dies, and the angels of the Lord come and pick him up, Lazarus, and the other one just dies. Interesting, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
One just continues on into eternity the way he is, but the other one is picked up by the angels. Okay, so one's on the other side. Now, the dilemma or the controversy is, well, Jesus was just telling a story. It's a parable. And then others say, no, it's not a parable. It's something that's real. Whatever the case may be, if it was a parable, then it's more horrifying than what Jesus lead us to. Because every parable that Jesus talked about leads to bigger, profound, more important truths than what the imagery that
literal.
he's. Yeah. So if it's a story or a parable, then we have to be very, very concerned because he was toning it down. You know what I'm saying? And if it's just a story that he's saying because of his own experience, meaning that he knows everything, he knows what's up in the, everywhere, then still, either or, the story continues, right? So here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing. It says, in hell, the rich man was in pain, in flames. Now, you have to understand Gehenna, right? Flames, bodies burning, a fire that doesn't go off day and night. It doesn't stop. So his audience, they know what's going on. The point is not the fire. The point is the torture. Yeah. Now, I don't want to diminish the torture itself that was made for the devil and his angels, by the way. But there's more torturing him than fire. He is thirsty and he's asking for water, but there's something more. The idea that he sees Lazarus in Abraham's bosom having a good time, and he's not, number one. Number two, his family. And how he wants he wants Lazarus to go, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, to go and let them know, hey, don't come to this place. So that's the second thing. You're fully conscious. You remember. You recognize, and you feel.
Whoa.
You're in that place. Okay, that's one. So now let's talk about him. The story says Jesus, this is Jesus talking. Jesus says, Lazarus. But what's the other guy's name?
Rosie.
He just calls him the rich man, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
He has
Doesn't
no
even have a name.
He has a name. Why is he still the rich man?
Because that's exactly who he became.
That's who became. That's who he became. That's who he is.
That's what he wanted.
That's what
So
he wanted.
so
That was the center of
That
his
is a
life.
parable. It could be the fornicator.
Yeah,
the
whatever
liar,
you give yourself
Exactly.
to.
Oh,
Exactly.
you become.
Yeah,
Yeah,
become
what he
who
was
you
saying.
want.
Become
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
the grumble becomes you.
Yeah.
You
The
become
grumble,
that
yeah.
grumble.
That's so cool.
To the point that you're inseparable from that.
Yeah.
Stephanie escaped.
She was heavy.
She got scared.
So you understand that? So in hell, he's referred to as the rich man. Now you might say, well, if I'm there, I would change. Not a thing, because he's in hell.
You become that.
Yeah.
He's the rich man. He still thinks he's rich.
Yeah.
So it becomes an attitude now, because now, even in hell, he's calling the shots.
Send Lazarus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's telling Abraham, hey, send that guy.
Mandalo.
My servant.
Yeah,
my servant.
exactly. So did anything change?
No.
No.
Whoa.
Were the flames changing him?
No.
That's who you are.
That's who he became.
That's what he wanted.
He became
Yeah.
that. And even in hell, he's thinking
Yeah.
that he can call the shots and tell this person to go there. And giving Abraham, for goodness sakes, instructions on how he should do his job. So here's the other part of that. Abraham tells him, hey, he's not your servant, because he's telling them, Lazarus, come,
Have him dip his finger.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not your servant, number one, but there is a chasm. There's a space between us. So he can't go there, and you can't come up. Right? Now, Rosie, me and Rosie were talking about it, because the question is, then what about purgatory?
No such thing.
Nope.
Right? A place where you can go and you wait, and then someone can spring you out of it?
You could go to the other side.
To go to the other side? No
I
such
think a lot of people believe in that.
Yeah, but there's no such thing because, the Bible, Jesus himself, let's forget it's anybody else, it's Jesus himself is saying, you can't go from where you are to where we are. You can't go from hell to paradise.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are rules even in the afterlife, and we can't go where you are. So this whole idea of we're going to spring you out of there by a particular amount of prayers or offerings
Yeah.
is not biblical.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole story. Yeah.
What does Isaiah say? That turn to the Lord before it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you're gone,
You got that's it.
it's over.
Yeah.
Like while the kingdom is at hand.
Yeah.
So come to terms.
Mm-hmm.
His terms, not anything else before you catch it. You become exactly who you wanted, who you desired
Yeah.
to be. Yeah.
Well, I think it's more like the time is now, right? Like you have opportunity now.
But what is, I mean,
That's exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
you,
Like
you
it's-
read Paul's letters, and what is his thing with the churches? What is the one thing he's always
Repent.
hammering down?
Mhm.
The one thing that he's always saying to the churches? What's the main thought of everything he says to them? Be like Christ. Be transformed to the image of Christ. Why?
because you don't want to go. I don't know, right? Like you have the opportunity.
Imitate me as I imitate Christ.
Yeah.
It says,
Because you either imitate Christ or you imitate.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and
There's no in between.
there is no in between.
Yeah.
There's none of that. So that's the idea right here. So just to make a caricature, a cartoon of God saying, "Oh, he's just simply evil and he sends you to hell," I think is misunderstanding the whole dynamic of how much responsibility we have into going to that place, and how avoidable that is. Again, it would be unjust and cruel to make a person that doesn't want to be with God be with God.
That's like the epitome of free will.
So now let's do the opposite. If this rich man was in hell, and even in hell, he wasn't changing,
We wouldn't change.
what makes you think that in
Yeah.
that condition you go to heaven that you're going to change?
Yeah.
Whoa.
You're going to be telling God, "Hey, God, do this."
He became that rich man. Not. Yeah. I see.
Yeah. He had no name. He's the rich man. His riches. That's it. And it's not. And listen, it's not the riches themselves. Is what they did to his heart.
Yeah.
It changed them.
Yeah.
That was his God.
Yeah.
That
That
was-
was his God.
Yeah.
So now think about this. How many people put anything and everything else and become that?
Yeah.
Their identity, their sexual identity
Yeah.
become who they are. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's dangerous. No, this is who I am. This is me. This is my God. This is what I honor. This is what's most important to me. So you become inseparable from that.
Isn't it like when we see like the historical context of the eye of the needle exactly like define that how people carried their possessions, which were their identity, like their riches and all that on the camel, and everything had to fall off before you can enter.
Before you can go in.
Yeah, and that's what that meant. Like,
Yeah.
that the camel did fit through that little door,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
all your worth, all your your crowns, whatever you want to call it, had to go.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
I think that is interesting. You guys have any thoughts on that?
On hell,
Yeah.
one more. I'm just reminded of Screw Tape Letters.
Oh yeah. If you haven't read it, you need to read it.
Screw Tape and Wormwood. There's one where like he's about to jump out, and he's like, "What is it? What was okay?" The uncle was. Who was the uncle?
It was a monkey's uncle. Someone's uncle.
It was two demons, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one was the uncle?
I don't remember.
Okay, so let's say it was.
I saw the play with Marta.
So when he said, "What are you doing?" Right, and it's like, "Oh, I'm about to jump out at this," and terrified. It's like, and he reams him. He's like, "We need he has to believe you don't exist. Like, and you said it right now, that lake of fire was intended for Satan and his angels. And I believe that it's not, oh, I'm gonna take you to hell with me. It means like he already know he's doomed, and he knows he's destined for that lake of fire. His thing is now distract enough people, and people who God's creation, to also be there with him in that torment. And that's his way of I guess his defiance to God, who he died for, taking as many as possible, distracting them, enticing them, so that they share that same
fate.
The same fate. But
Yeah.
it's not like he's going to drag them down. It's nothing like that. Once again,
Yeah.
it's just
It's a misconception that I
yeah.
can,
Yeah.
if I ignore it,
Yep.
if I don't talk about it, then I can just create my own thing and say, yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's
And,
it's a lie.
and the father of lies is always working to distract, to lead you there with him.
Yeah.
On me, it's just one final point. I was reading Matthew 7:21,
Go for it.
and you were talking about culture, right? How they look at it, but
They
I kinda,
mock it.
Yeah, they mock it. But also, I want to look inward, right? And Matthew 7:21 says, "Not everyone who says, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of the Father who is in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast demons out in your name, and do mighty works in your name?' And then I will declare to them, 'I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness.'"
Yeah.
So that comes inward, right? Like when I read that, I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
It's not only like people that are non-believers or atheists or the culture, but also the works. Like what are we doing like with our lives? How's that relationship with God?
Yeah, I like the word lawlessness
Lawless.
because it's like removing God's kingdom from you, removing God's
Yeah.
government from you.
It's once again, that just reminds me that it has nothing to do with what you do,
Yeah.
but it's your character,
Yeah.
who you become like.
Yeah, but what you do comes out of who you
Yeah.
are,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But me doing these things,
What you give yourself to.
doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually who you become like.
Yeah.
And that's Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's what saves.
Or you might say, yeah, I go to church and I go on Sundays and I pray and stuff. But what do you do outside of that?
What about the amount of preachers and
That too.
because he's talking about heavy stuff like
Yeah.
healing in your name and doing
Cast out
all these things.
demons,
Yeah.
works.
I mean, that's like fantastic.
Yeah.
So I can only think of
That's scary.
Yeah.
that is scary, but I can think of persevering, insisting on constantly just being at his feet, just
Yeah.
pressing on to who he is, and I think that's what he's talking about is there might be a disconnect as
Yeah.
you go through it.
Yeah.
And I can cast demons,
Yeah.
I can
Well,
heal.
it's like it's not because of you, it's despite you.
Despite,
right?
yeah.
How often do we say oh Lord, please, let these things happen? That reading that scares me. I want to say, Lord, please, if it's not you, don't let it happen.
Yeah.
Don't let us believe that
Yeah.
you're here if you're not.
Yeah.
First
Because you're
and
deluding
foremost,
yourself.
Just reveal yourself. Nothing more. Even if
Yeah.
we all perish, no problem, and we get sick, but as long as you're with us,
Yeah.
let that be it,
Yeah. Awesome. And then the opposite of that is heaven. Heaven. Now, heaven, another misconception. It's like people jumping on clouds and
Oh, it's not?
We don't all become angels with wings.
yeah, we become angels with wings
wanted to
and
fly.
stuff like that. None of that
Let's
stuff.
get it clear though. Dogs do go to heaven.
No, well,
Amen.
That's another podcast.
That's another debate for another
Another
time.
podcast.
For another podcast.
Whatever.
Depends what you name them.
Where in the Bible does it say they don't?
for what you gotta tune in.
Exactly,
You
it
gotta tune in
doesn't.
to the next podcast.
No.
Yeah. You
It all depends
So-
what you name them.
So all those dog lovers, tune in to the next podcast. We're gonna talk about.
I know we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna bring an expert
Yeah.
on dog and heaven.
First of all, if you don't have a dog, you cannot talk. Like,
we're gonna bring
No.
What do you
we're gonna
mean?
bring an expert in canine theology.
Yeah, the salvation of the canines.
Let me use a modern phrase. She's throwing shades at me because I don't have a dog.
Mine's not saved yet,
Nope.
but I'm working on him. I'm working on him.
You do.
He's not saved yet.
Not yet.
You're working on him. Okay.
Mine does.
Slowly but surely.
I don't think that name helps, but whatever.
Mine still struggles sometimes.
Oh, wow. Hey, well, you know what?
I had Pastor Caesar. If you're watching this, I hope you are. But you know what I'm talking
He
about.
probably stopped 2 hours ago.
I know how. I had a professor in school, and he was so convinced, and he assured us that dogs need salvation, and they do get saved, and they accept the Lord, and that they go to heaven.
Wow.
That was his thing.
I'd love to have a conversation
and
with him.
he died already.
I like him.
Oh,
Yeah, and he said it in
wow.
class. He was like,
Downhill.
but he was serious. He was like talking about it, and he's like,
now he knows, Pastor, if their dogs.
so I don't know if he was implying that we need to preach to them.
Are you sure he wasn't like maybe joking?
No.
Oh, he was serious?
Pass on
Yeah,
to
he
you
was
guys?
serious.
Did he back it up with Bible verses or
He was
something?
serious. He didn't.
Yeah, but like, so
Yeah.
what he was just oh.
It was just interesting.
Wow.
You can't. Like, how do you?
All right, so let's get back to it.
Yeah.
So Jesus says that he came from the Father. He was going back to the Father. John 14, 15, 16, 17, when he's talking to his disciples for the last time. And he tells them, I'm going to go away. I'm going to go prepare a place for you so that where I am, you also may be with me. That's what Jesus said, right? So I know we saw in Luke Abraham's bosom, and then the question is like, okay, so are people still going there? What's going on with that? Now, I don't know much about it. I can just tell you what I suspect. But something happened. There was a shift when Jesus came, and Peter says that he went down to the depth to give testimony. Testimony of what? For salvation. Testimony of how God fulfilled the promises that he made to the ancients through him, right? But I think something else happened, because all of a sudden when Jesus is on the cross and he's dying, and the thief tells him, hey, remember me when you come in your kingdom. And he says to him, today you will. He doesn't say you'll be with Abraham. You're going to be in this thing. You're going to be with me in paradise. That's what he tells him. Now, obviously, there's a spiritual aspect to it, because Jesus obviously was going to die. His body was going to be buried. But then Jesus resurrects, and he has a glorified body. He ascends into heaven, right?
Yes.
And remember that he says that he was going to go and prepare a place. Paul then tells us, and I'm just giving you the little clues that are, throughout the Testament. But Paul tells us that to be absent from the body is to be present with Christ. Yeah. That this tent is temporary. So it doesn't seem like we're going to go to Abraham's bosom, because Abraham is the symbol for the Jewish nation. Every Jewish people, every Hebrew knew who Abraham was. So it made sense for people to encounter the father of faith. But it doesn't make sense for us, because Christ is the author of our faith. And he is the one. So he tells this guy, you're going to be with me. He tells disciples, I'm going to prepare a place for you. And Paul says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. So, but then there's another passage that's problematic, and is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Because Paul says, hey, don't lose hope, because with the sound of a trumpet, Christ is going to come back, and the dead in Christ, they're going to rise again first, and those of us who live, we're going to meet up in the sky, and we're going to be with Christ forever. Now, the implication, I don't know if it's we're going to be with Christ forever, or we're all going to be together forever. So the question that arises is, if the dead are with Christ now, then why is it that Paul is saying the dead in Christ will rise, and then we're going to meet with Christ and to be with him forever? Aren't they forever with him? And the answer to that question is complicated, because resurrection has to do with the reunification of the body and the soul. As long as there's that division, that separation is death. So what it seems to me is like the believers recover their body, and then they become whole, just like Christ. And then Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15, he says, those of us who live in a blink of an eye, we're going to be transformed just like he is, in the same essence of what he is, we're going to be transformed. If you're dead, you can't have such transformation because there's already a separation between the spiritual and the material. So for those who live, Christ, his coming creates a transformation. But for those who die, it becomes a union, a recovering of what death separated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have those two things, right? And then the last thing that I want to just to kind of add, 2 Corinthians chapter 9, chapter 12, when Paul is defending his discipleship, and he's telling them, "Hey, I am
a disciple.
I'm a disciple too. I'm an apostle." And he's defending that with the Corinthians, who he was very familiar with. And by the way, they heard him a lot. They were very mean church to him, but yet he treats them with love. So, but he's defending his apostleship. And then he says this: "I must go on boasting, though there is nothing to be gained by it. I will go on unto visions and revelations of the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven, whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows." So he says the third heaven because this one's the first heaven, space is the second, and the third heaven is where God is. But there's no levels of ascending to earn your way into heaven.
Yeah.
He's just describing that it wasn't an experience on this atmosphere. It wasn't an experience in the other atmosphere. It was an experience out of these two atmospheres.
Wow.
It was in the atmosphere of God. That's what he's trying to say. So verse 3, "And I know that this man was caught up into paradise." So he mentions what Jesus mentions, right? So there's a connection there. "Whether in the body or out of the body," he says, "I don't know. God knows." Okay? And then he says this, "And he heard things I cannot be told, that cannot be told, which man may not utter. On behalf of this man I will boast, but on my own behalf I will not boast, except my weakness." So he's saying, hey, I was caught up into heaven. I saw things that I can't even tell you what they look like. You wouldn't even imagine what it is. But I can tell you that there are things over there that they go way beyond what we know and the way that, this earth is put together. So he adds to the mystery of heaven by letting us know that whatever Christ is preparing over there, it's something so extraordinary. The people who are in God's presence, I'm so sorry to say this, but they're not looking down. Why would they?
Absolutely not.
Nothing in heaven compares to what's here. Now, you might say something like, well, so then we lose our love for our loved ones? Is that what happens? That's not what happens. But I think in the presence of Christ, you understand that he is faithful.
Complete.
You're complete. Mm-hmm. And that Christ is dealing with your own family. Christ is dealing with, his promises are true for your family, So you can't be in heaven, worrying about that. That happened to this guy in hell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in heaven, you have complete knowledge and complete trust of who Christ is. And you see the bigger picture for the first time.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm speechless.
So Paul is saying to the Corinthians, I can tell you these things. I'm not going to. And then he tells, I think in another scripture, he says, "No eye has seen, no ear has ever heard what the Lord has prepared for those who love him," right? But we do know that it's going to be work, activity, consciousness, fullness of joy, because in his presence there's fullness of joy, right? Fullness of absolutely everything that we have ever desired. And then C.S. Lewis, you know who I read a lot, but he says if our yearnings and our desires that are very deep in us are not filled with anything in this world, it's because we were made for another world that is beyond this one. So that's where Christ comes in. So heaven is not just a better place. Heaven is like the place, right? And it's not just a bunch of clouds. I think it's another dimension that just blows this dimension away. And in Revelations, we see heaven coming down to earth, transforming, making a new heaven and a new earth. And I think that's amazing. So that's heaven and earth. Now, my question is, you hate God? Because heaven is permeated with God and his presence. He is there. You clearly see who he is. You don't like God? You don't believe in him? What makes you think that you want to be there for an eternity? You can't be with him 20 minutes, 80 years, that is a lifespan. What makes you think that you're going to be loving every moment of eternity with God when he stands for everything that you really hate and despise? It makes no sense. So why are we fighting? Right? Why? Because if we say, you're going to hell, oh, that's offensive. But wait, you don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways, any thoughts?
Mind blown.
You said it enough. You said it all,
I
Pastor.
love it.
You said it all.
Yes and amen.
You guys are funny. Anyways, that's our podcast today. I know we've gone a little bit over 2 hours,
all right.
but I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope it's been helpful to you if you're watching, and if you're watching, like and subscribe. Support us. We're not asking for money. We're just asking for subscription. You should know we're not monetizing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not getting any cents.
Wait a
or
minute. I'm not
anything,
getting
but-
paid for that.
What?
That's-
We get snacks.
We get snacks.
We get paid
Yeah,
in snacks.
that we buy ourselves.
Yeah.
You guys.
that's more than enough.
That's more enough.
Yeah.
But we want to have these conversations with
Yeah.
Christians. We want to talk about what's going on around the world and not just be like the echo chamber of the wokeness, but just say, hey, you know what? This doesn't make sense. This is not rational. Let's talk about it. And let's see what the Bible says about it. All right? So until then, guys, what are we going to do? We're going to stay bright.
Salty.
God bless you guys.